have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
Need one.
I don't know.
Let's hold that with money. Don't take it.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru Movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Uhuru, Uhuru, Uhuru.
Hands off Uhuru.
Hands off Africa.
Uhuru, Uhuru comrades, Uhuru co-MC, Comrade Jainaba, good to see you. How are you doing today, comrade?
Yeah, I'm ready for revolution.
Hey, me too. And as we can see, the revolution is live. And as the chairman says, and some people say it's lit. And
it's lit.
It's lit.
And that video was incredible.
Yes, yes. And you know what? This whole struggle has just been incredible. And if that video could capture everything, we would be here all day, because we're here today to look back at 3 years since the FBI raids. And so much has happened. And, you know, I know Jainab and I, we could sit here and rap all day about just how powerful this fight back has been. We have such an exciting program for everybody today, and we want to make sure that we can hear from everybody who has, you know, showed up literally from around the world to be a part of this, you know, a recognition of 3 years in struggle, but centuries of struggle for the liberation for Africa and African people and all colonized peoples. Comrade, anything you want to say before we show one more clip? You know, before I introduce this next clip. Yeah, and then
well, I want to say at first, I want to just salute the southern region of the African People's Socialist Party. I want to salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I want to salute DC Ona Zanea Yeshitela. And I want to salute all of my forces that are on the ground, you know, working at this moment. And if you're in the South, I want you to be under my leadership, and I want you to join the African People's Socialist Party. So that's all I got to say.
Uhuru. Yes. Uhuru. And if you're tuning in and you want to share this program, you know, get folks on, you know, bring your family, your friends, your comrades onto this call as well. And we're going to just show one quick video, and I'm just going to, and then we're going to kind of frame up, you know, why we're here on today. I want to salute one of the organizations who was, you know, and individuals who from the very beginning, after these raids on the Uhuru Movement, you know, was courageous enough to, you know, stand up and to say that these attacks were unprincipled, that, you know, they were unjust. And because of that, I want to acknowledge CPI. There was a convention that they had earlier this month where they, you know, wanted to honor and salute the chairman for, you know, for his courage and his bravery, you know, fighting back and pushing back against the FBI. So there's a video of the acceptance of this trophy award. Comrade Kabula, who's a member of the African People's Socialist Party, went to Chicago to accept this award at the CPI convention. So we're going to take a look at that clip just quickly, and then Jainab and I are going to run us through today's program. Uhuru.
By fighting back and by organizing the people of the community and people all over the country, all over the world, really, Chairman Omali Yeshitela has defended all of our rights. That's right. We now have a right to use our free speech, and not just any kind of free speech, speech about how we should be working together with countries around the world instead of going to war with them. So he saved your right for free speech, and he probably saved the lives of your children and grandchildren. We now have a chance to use our speech to defend their right to live. And for that, we are grateful to the party, and we vow to use that gift that he has won for us to stop these wars and build a world of prosperity instead of a world of death.
So, get the Bolo representing the People's Democratic Uhuru to come up, please. These are heroes. They fought for our freedom. The only reason we're here today is because they fought for us in federal court. It's an honor to have you here. You are heroes. Thank you. Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru!
Uhuru. Wow. Just really want to salute those comrades, and we wanted to make sure we had a chance to show that video. Yes, and just the powerful, you know, show of solidarity and support for the Uhuru 3. So, all right, comrade, let's pull up this PowerPoint, and we're going to tell everybody why you're here, and you know, just a little background on this movement and this organization for those of you that are also new joining us. So, as that PowerPoint's being pulled up, and I want to salute our techs on the background who are just, you know, doing so much. So thank you, comrade. We want to tell everybody to share right now. to go to handsoffuhuru.org/Uhuru3. We're also streaming live on Facebook and on the Burning Spear TV YouTube channel. So we want to encourage everybody to share this video far and wide and like it and follow and all of that. So today is the as we say, victory is on the horizon. We are clear as revolutionaries that this struggle of the Uhuru 3 is not a setback, but it is just an acknowledgement and a recognition of the, of the power, of the anti-colonial struggle, and how, as the chairman says, when we fight, we win. So today we are going to celebrate 3 years since the FBI raids on the Uhuru Movement, and we're going to talk about building this campaign to abolish the foreign agents and conspiracy laws. And we want to appreciate everybody for being here. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrade. So this is brought to you by the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition. And the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition is a non-sectarian anti-colonial free speech coalition to make the demand to drop the charges on the Uhuru 3 and to defend the right to freedom of speech. So this coalition was formed for that very reason, and we are, very serious about the question of freedom and liberation as it applies to the most oppressed in the world. How about I kick it to you, comrade Uhuru?
Uhuru, yeah, we want to make sure that we salute our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, who has spent, his entire life fighting for this case. And I mean, this is also impacting the future of free speech. The significance of the Uhuru 3 case and the anti-colonial free speech movement that has arisen, as a counteroffensive to these bogus charges, it is under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela that we strategically fight and we determine the future of free speech. This is the most serious political assault on the struggle for African liberation since the 1960s. And this whole thing was a test case. So, if Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru 3 were convicted, it would have opened the gates for the U.S. government to charge anybody for any speech that they don't like, just by alleging that, the speech was at the behest of some foreign government. But, at the end of the day, and you saw in the video, not one day. And that is a result of the incredible leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the work of the party, the African People's Socialist Party.
Uhuru. Uhuru, next slide.
Uhuru, and also have to salute Deputy Chair Ona Zane-Yeshitela, who is the architect of the Black Power Blueprint. So much of what we've seen, come to fruition, come to life, is at just the work of DC Ona Zane-Yeshitela, as we like to call her. So we want to salute our Deputy Chair, Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Well, I think you should take this on as our Secretary General.
All right. Well, I want to just salute the Central Committee of the African People's Socialist Party, much of whom are taking up the responsibility to, forward the African revolution wherever it exists, and, spread African internationalism, spread the theory of, spread the right to fight back and, and to fight for self-determination and for power everywhere around the world. So I want to salute these comrades who represent many of the organizations and, leading bodies under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right. So I could go ahead and take this one, comrade.
Uhuru.
And, the FBI, the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback counteroffensive was initiated following, as we know, those vicious FBI raids, a multi-city military-style raid on 7 homes and properties of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru Movement. And again, we understand that this was a continuation of the attempt to crush the struggle for Black liberation and self-determination. And when the FBI attacked the Uhuru Movement, we fought back. And by we mean the chairman, as you see right there on the center. Those are on the door, on the steps outside the chairman's home, fought back and built a movement and launched this campaign on July 29, 2022, to call into question the attack of freedom on all freedom-loving people. And since these attacks, we have seen ongoing attacks, some predating the attacks on July 29th, but attacks on the economic institutions, wiping out a petition, that was charging the United States with genocide, as well as various media outlets and, other entities who were, dead set on, striking out any type of work that we tried to put out in the community, burning a church right outside the chairman's home that we were in the process of purchasing. These were some of the attacks that were happening ongoing over the past 2 years, and we stay still present to this day. But from the beginning, the people recognized that this was an attack on all of us. And right out the gate, we have here on the top left a comrades with D12 who held a press conference just days after the attack. And, numerous of organizations that showed up expressing their support and, and to the here on the right, those of you who joined us on the first day of court. And I do want to also give a shout out to Comrade Sheila Hamanaka, who maybe I can say something later, but who was with Pacifica Fightback and was the first to put this out on the airways. As Sister Betty reminds us that Sheila put this out on the news, on the radio, that these attacks happened. And that was really critical and very courageous stand. Go ahead, Comrade Uhuru.
Uhuru. And we have here, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we really took the struggle to the streets, as you can see. We raised the question of freedom of speech, building a global anti-colonial free speech movement. And we really want to salute and say a big Uhuru and a thank you to all of our supporters worldwide, from everybody who donated, who fundraised, who signed a petition, who hosted an event, who was putting up posters and passing out flyers and marching and doing all of those things. We salute you, Uhuru.
Uhuru. And, we want to also express, as I just mentioned earlier, the tremendous appreciation of those independent broadcasters and journalists, who have courageously taken a stand in supporting the Uhuru 3, participating in this fight back. And again, like I said, this was something that just at a certain point, we were having to break through this encirclement where the media was just not covering it, at least the colonial media. And so we really don't have time to thank everybody because this is a really tight program, but we have done it in the past, and we want to continue to really salute everybody who put this out there in the world and, brought the Uhuru 3 on, onto your programs. And I know you feel me when I say this, Comrade Jainaba. Our next slide has, again, we don't have all the faces, but where would we be without our volunteers? Honestly, this fight back is powered by the people. It is powered by the people. And I really want to salute the, Burning Spear Media, which is the entity that drives the media and communications, for the African People's Socialist Party, and all the volunteers who, played such significant roles on social media, at the trial, using their creative, genius, sketching, poetry, all this type of work that came through this engine called the, media army. Uhuru. And I want to also salute, and we want to salute one of our special volunteers and comrades, and, brother, an African, a strong African, and one that we will cherish very much and miss dearly, is Comrade Sayero, who, also known as Dennis Knowles, who's a member of the Fightback Coalition, a member of Impedum, and member of Hands Off, member of the African People's Socialist Party. And as we say here, it is with profound sadness that the Fightback Coalition announces the transitioning of our powerful revolutionary freedom fighter and member, Comrade Sayero. And he transitioned last Sunday on July 20th, 2025. So I just want to say long live and presente to Comrade Sayero. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. So we want to salute the Uhuru 3. Who are the Uhuru 3? Chairman Amalia Shatella, founder and leader of the Uhuru Movement and the African People's Socialist Party. Penny Hess, chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, who you will also be hearing from today, as well as Jesse Neville, chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. We want to salute our brilliant attorneys who are, pictured here. who have just done significant work. Our brilliant lawyer team, Leonard Goodman, Addie Griffin, Mutaki Akbar, Angela Rainey, and Tom Inskeep, who are just shining examples of courageous examples of lawyers that we haven't seen, as the chairman reminds us, since the civil rights era.
Uhuru, and the trial that was supposed to last a month only lasted 9 days. The truth was revealed and a political victory was made, and it was clear that the US government lied and lost. The Uhuru Movement, we told the truth and won. Indeed, Uhuru works for Black people, not Russia, but the bogus and wrongful conviction of conspiracy is why we say not one day, not one dime. So we want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who wrote letters. Thank you for those letters because they were so critical in the outcome of the sentencing hearing. We're going to continue to share some of the letters in the future if we have the possibility to, but just want to salute everybody who participated. Uhuru. But it's not over. We are not yet Uhuru, which means that we have to keep fighting back. We have to stay organized and, continue the struggle. Next slide. This historic Uhuru 3 appeal brief, which was filed last month by Leonard Goodman and Angela Rainey, aims to establish a precedent-setting case law to constrain the government's ability to criminalize speech. So we're going to hear from our attorneys today about the significance of the appeal, and you can read this outstanding document on the Hands Off Uhuru website. And we're also going to have an event on August 21st about this. Next slide. It's not over because today we'll also launch the campaign to overturn FARA and conspiracy laws that aim to criminalize freedom of association, speech, and the democratic right of the colonized people to organize in our interest for liberation and self-determination. Uhuru. Next slide.
Uhuru. And this is why the Fightback Coalition was built. It was built to expand the support and, for the demand to drop the charges on the Uhuru 3, but uniting forces across the political spectrum and embracing all the struggles for self-determination, liberation, freedom, for African, Indigenous, and all oppressed and colonized peoples around the world. And this was really important because, what this attack also was an attempt to do was to isolate the Uhuru movement, isolate this particular struggle and make it just an attack on Chairman Amalia Shatella and the Uhuru 3 and, and just obscure what was really, what was the main, attack. And so we just want to say that this coalition stands with all struggles. Here is a picture of our comrades with Unión del Barrio. This is in Los Angeles, California, on, unceded, lands of the Mexican indigenous people. And we want to salute these comrades for the, struggle. We say that the anti-colonial free speech movement lives on, as we can see, being led by these comrades and the Mexican and indigenous people in Los Angeles, California, pushing back against these violent, raids by these occupying military armies. We also want to say that this campaign, stands with and salutes Comrade Mahmoud Khalil, who, is a Palestinian student activist who was kidnapped, right, from his apartment by, federal agents in March and was just released about a month ago or so. And again, just understanding that this was another attack on somebody for exercising their right to freedom of speech and advocating for the liberation of Palestinian people in the case of Mahmoud Khalil. We also want to salute other, organizations under the banner of Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition, such as the U.S. Hands Off Cuba Committee, which has, joined with Hands Off Uhuru to take this campaign to revolutionary Cuba. And, we want to salute this day on July 26th, because, we understand, as we had said, that the revolution is, the revolution is live. And here is the reminder that the revolution began, at least the Cuban Revolution, on July 26, 1953, with the people's attack on the Moncada barracks, with only 160 guerrillas. And this was led by Fidel Castro, who was arrested for this attack. But in court, he made the famous, statement saying, oh, sorry, on the next slide, he says that history will absolve me. And, this is so true, because as we know, everything that the colonizer does is lie, and so nothing that is, nothing can be said for the truth for the people, unless we look at it in terms of, what is the struggle of the people. So that didn't make sense, but what Fidel Castro said makes sense, that history will absolve Uhuru. And I want to just salute the, Cuban Revolution, which declared its victory on January 1st, 1959. Our fight back also takes up the struggle of the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition. We want to really salute the comrades who are, pushing back against the erasure of the Moses African Cemetery. This is in, the DMV area. Communities have been rallying to defend these sacred grounds, and we want to salute Sister Marcia Adebayo and all the courageous forces on the ground, Paul Pumphrey, many others to name, who are calling on those, who believe in justice, dignity, and sanctity to, push back against these burial grounds where our African ancestors were, laid to rest and have been dug up and treated in the most inhumane manners. And so we want to join them and tell people to, follow this fight back as well. From on the ground at the headquarters in St. Louis, we say anti-colonial free speech, again, continues to live on as we see the comrades on the ground who are, recovering from a deadly tornado that took the lives of 7 people in North St. Louis, at least that we could count. And actually there was more. But just to say that, anytime that any type of attack hits the poor and oppressed communities, we know that that it's going to be with devastating results. And this is what we saw in North St. Louis. And again, we fought back. The community came together to, take back what was ours, which was our power, literally the power to turn the lights back on, but also the power of the people. So we want to salute everybody who is on the ground there. Our coalition, is committed to the struggle to free all political prisoners. We want to salute Comrade Leonard Peltier, who is home, as well as, and to say free Mumia Abu Jamal and free Comrade Imam Jalil Al-Hamin as well. And we want to salute a new front of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Fight Back, the South America front. And I really want to give a shout out to Comrades Paulo and Comrades Ann, who have taken up the responsibility to help lead and lay the groundwork for this. Comrade Ann, who was located in Ecuador, and Comrade Paulo, who was located here, in the United States, but is everywhere. This comrade is, has joined many various struggles to help with that, the Peruvian Chasqui, as he says. And I just want to say that this is why this coalition is where you need to be, where you need to, join. Comrades, join the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition. Look at our demands, see what we stand for, get an understanding that your struggle is within this struggle, because we are winning, comrades. And to say that throughout this process, as we wrap up this, overview, we want to remind everybody that we didn't just fight back against attacks, but we continued to build. Here are just some examples of the amazing, programs and institutions of the African People's Socialist Party and Uhuru Movement, which we're continuing to build. Some of them were launched during these attacks. And it's important to understand that we knew that the attack was not just an attack on this, political organization, but on an organization that plans to self-govern. And these are the institutions that the African People's Socialist Party has built for the people. And to say that we are very proud to say that even though they took us off the air on July 29th, so we couldn't alert the people, there's going to be another Black Power radio station in St. Louis, Black Power 94, not 96, 94. So now we got 2 comrades coming soon to North St. Louis. So we say here, keeping St. Louis Black, 94.1 Black Power. This is where you need to be, comrades, and this is why we say we are winning. So I'll let you read this one, comrade. Take us home as we get ready to close up.
Uhuru, from Africa to Paris to LA to Florida to New Jersey to Venezuela, the shout is heard around the world. Hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, drop the charges on the Uhuru 3.
Yes. And as we know, FBI can't stop Uhuru. And just a reminder, Uhuru means freedom.
Uhuru means freedom. And
about.
we invite you to go to the handsoffuhuru.org/coalition to learn more about the coalition and to read the full list of demands of the Fightback Coalition, like SG and Weezy just mentioned. But
Yes.
today we bring attention to demand number 5. Significance to the significance, as we celebrate the release of Comrade Leonard Peltier, we salute the victory of the Uhuru 3, but we recognize that the fight is not over.
Uhuru. Yes, comrade.
Yeah, the demand number 5 reads, we demand the release of all political prisoners, including Leonard Peltier, Mumi Abu Jamal, and many others, and to drop all the charges against Assata Shakur as well. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Right on. Yes, comrades. This is really important fight back, and I want to appreciate you reading those demands, comrade, and bringing us attention to those, because yes, that is really significant that you see this as part of your struggle. And we're going to pull the slide back up just a moment to remind everybody of our goal. Because today, comrades, we are going to raise the resources to fund this appeal, this groundbreaking appeal that was written by our brilliant lawyers. We have just $25,000 remaining to raise towards the rest of the appeal and, all the costs for the appeal. And this, again, as our mathematicians like to remind us, that this is just 50 people giving $500 each. 25 people giving $1,000 each, or 100 people giving $250 each. And we know we can do this. We want you to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate to start, contributing to this fight back. And we have a goal today in today's webinar to raise $15,000 towards that goal, which I know we can do it. What do you think, comrade?
Oh, I know we can do it. I'm ready. I'm ready for revolution. And I know that the people are too. This is the place, where you can see, and you've just witnessed, where the material solidarity goes.
Yes.
This is a historic case, and you have the opportunity to be a part of it. Even if you don't get involved physically, your donation will empower us to do the legwork for you. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yes, comrade. Right. Well said, and very true. And last but not least, comrades, we want to get today started. So victory is on the horizon. And we want to say, when we fight, we win. So let's go ahead and let's meet some of our, supporters who have been here with us since day one. So
yeah, and put it in the chat. We want to
Yeah.
see in the chat everybody who's making their donation. Put in the chat, type donate in the chat, type Hands Off Uhuru in the chat, and go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Put it in there, and we're going to call you out. We're going to make sure that we mention you directly, so that you get the recognition for participating in such a historic appeal. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, comrade, for that. I appreciate that so much. And, we're really excited to bring up this next segment of our program. And one of the things that we're going to do is, before we actually get to that, so we are going to do a quick overview, and it's going to be very, very informative. And I want to really appreciate and call up very shortly our attorneys and Comrade Jesse Neville, who's going to give us the status of the campaign against 951 and FARA. But before we get to that, we have a very special guest who has joined us. And I want to appreciate and salute Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein, who is on with us today. Uhuru, Jill.
Uhuru, Chairwoman.
Uhuru. Great to see you, Jill. And just to say that Jill was there with us on day one of the trial, there at the press conference on the steps just outside of the courthouse. But before that, in arms, in struggle, with the people on the ground in the struggle, against the attacks on, pushing back for the defense of, Palestine, who is facing this, vicious genocide. And I just want to say, we really salute you, your courage, your bravery, and your solidarity with the Uhuru 3. So we wanted to give you just, a moment to give your live salute. And thank you for joining us, Jill. Uhuru.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Muizi. It's really an honor to be here on this 3rd anniversary of the Uhuru Fight Back, triggered by that fascistic assault on Chairman Yeshalita on his home and on the Uhuru centers. This was really a warning of what was to come, of this surge in police state violence, the all-out assault taking place right now on civil liberties, on constitutional rights, on freedom of speech, the right to protest, the right of freedom of association and assembly, our right to privacy. This is all under just unprecedented vicious attack right now. And I really want to thank the chairman, Penny Hess and Jesse Neville, for their courage in leading the charge to defend the freedoms of all of us. I understand very much what this was about, because I think several years actually before the Uhuru 3 was charged, I too was charged, not in a court of law, but by the Senate Intelligence Committee, also under this false notion of protesting war and offering a political alternative in 2016, that therefore made me essentially a Russian agent. And I was investigated formally for 3 years. And I know what an actual disaster and what an abuse of our freedoms this is, that statute that you are now challenging. That is a service to us all. And it's a service to us all that the Uhuru 3 defeated these preposterous charges of being foreign agents for Russia, though you still have to fight this ridiculous ongoing charge that stands against you for supposedly being in conspiracy to do something that you were cleared of having done. So it's preposterous, it's ridiculous. I really encourage everyone to give your support to the Uhuru Fight Back, understanding the importance of this fight to the broader fight against rising fascism and imperialism, which goes hand in hand with colonialism. This is really what Martin Luther King had talked about as the triple evil of militarism, racism, and capitalism. But add to that colonialism and fascism. They really come as a package, and this package is really assaulting us all. And thanks to the Uhuru 3 for your incredible courage and your vision in leading the fight for all of us. So I really encourage everyone to please give your support, your ongoing support, so that this conviction that still stands can be overturned. It's very important in this ongoing fight. We are all up against the wall right now, as we see with the starvation rolling out for 2 million people in Palestine, which is really, kind of one of the most horrific modern examples of full-fledged colonialism, and has everything to do with the war on our freedom of speech, our freedom to protest colonialism, to protest genocide that goes with it. It is outrageous that we are being persecuted for fighting the genocide that is now in the process of threatening the lives of 2 million people who are experiencing starvation right now as we speak. This is an unbelievable, perilous moment that is really inseparable from the fight that the Uhuru 3 are leading here to defend our freedom of speech, our right to take on and fight back against the on behalf of the liberation of oppressed people everywhere, on behalf of Africans and the diaspora around the world, and on behalf of Palestinians and all oppressed people. That is the flip side of our fight right here for freedom of speech, and the fight that the Uhuru are leading. So thank you very much. It's really been an honor to be with you.
Thank you so much, Uhuru, comrade. I just have to salute your presence and even remembering seeing you there, on the ground during the trial. So big salute, big Uhuru to you.
Thank you.
Uhuru. And as you heard Jill Stein say, support this fight back, donate, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and contribute to this. As she said, this conviction must be overturned. And, and to say that the Uhuru 3 are still, as a reminder, facing 3 years probation, and, have to still check into this probation officer and, things like that. And so it's not over. It's not over, and we're going to continue to fight back. So thank you so much, Jill Stein, and salute to you, comrade, and we'll be in touch. Uhuru. I want to say that this next segment, we're really excited to take a moment to talk about this campaign to repeal the FARA Act. And I really want to salute our tremendous attorneys for the Uhuru 3, and our comrade Jesse Neville, who's the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, one of the Uhuru 3, who has also been, helping to lead under the leadership of Comrade Chimarenga, the Legal Defense Support Committee. And so all of this, part of this fight back was to help us understand that, as the chairman says, law is the opinion of the ruling class. And we have a goal to not just, beat them on their law, but to, hit at the main contradiction. And so that is what that is what this appeal is going to do. That is what this campaign is going to do. And I'm going to turn it over to you, comrade, on the ground in St. Louis. Uhuru, Chair Jesse.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Hands off Uhuru.
Hands off Africa.
Uhuru. Thank you so much, Chair Mwezi, Secretary General Mwezi Odom, and Rep. Jainaba Lumumba. It's a great honor to be on this program today, here with Chairwoman Penny Hess, and with all of the comrades who are here in the room. And I just want to express again what an honor it is to be a part of this, and to be one of the Uhuru 3, the greatest honor of my life, truly, to be one of the Uhuru 3 under the leadership of the heroic and courageous Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the leader of the Uhuru Movement, and Chairwoman Penny Hess, who has modeled the stand of white solidarity with African liberation for 50 years. So I just want to salute the Uhuru 3, salute the Uhuru Movement. And I'm very excited to be in this particular section of the program. And I want to thank Jill Stein as well, and really appreciate that statement from Jill Stein and the stance that Jill Stein took throughout the entire process leading up to the trial and during the trial of the Uhuru 3, to stand with the chairman and stand with the Uhuru Movement against this vicious, bogus, desperate attack by the colonial state against African people and against free speech itself. So we can bring up the slide. In just a few moments, I'm going to be joined by one of the incredible attorneys on the Uhuru 3 legal team, Angela Rainey. And we're going to be talking about two things which are really connected and are part of one overall struggle that the chairman is pushing for Hands Off Uhuru to take to a higher level in this period. One is the appeal. This is it. I'm holding a copy right here, 55 pages. The appeal that was filed in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals on June 16th, just a month ago. And we will also be talking about the campaign to repeal the Foreign Agent Registration Act and related laws, and the General Conspiracy Statute, all of which are used time and time again as weapons of colonial state repression against African people, colonized people, and against free speech. So this is a really, really exciting campaign. And as the chairman said from the very beginning, when those attacks happened on almost exactly 3 years ago today, that the party's response was not to make a defense, but to wage a counter-offensive. And this campaign, including the appeal, is part of this phase of the escalation of that counteroffensive. So I just want to, again, quickly just say, salute the leadership of the chairman. The entire strategy that we're going to be discussing here comes directly from the brilliant fight that the chairman has made for this counteroffensive to go forward. And I also want to deeply salute Deputy Chair Ona Zanea Yeshitela, who is, in addition to being the incredible and brilliant architect of the Black Power Blueprint, has been on the front lines of this struggle from the very beginning, the day that she herself faced the guns and flashbang grenades and handcuffs of the FBI, and who waged the fight back on so many different levels throughout the past 3 years and continues to do so to this very day. So Uhuru, we can go to the next slide. And just to say a little bit more about the strategy underlying the campaign to repeal the FARA laws and the conspiracy laws. The chairman's leadership that brought us to this point, with the support of all of the members of the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, started with the premise that the chairman made very clear from the very beginning, that when these attacks happened, they had to be understood as political attacks being waged under the cover of law. that this was a political indictment, it was a political trial, that it was a political sentencing. And simply to argue the law and not to wage the political struggle would have been a death wish. And that was something the chairman made very clear from the beginning. So the chairman has helped us understand we're going to be talking about legal precedents in this presentation, but the first precedent that was set with this case is a monumental political precedent, the effects of which continue to be felt to this very day, which is the precedent set by the fact that the chairman and the Uhuru movement fought back. That was the first precedent that was set. Taking a plea deal was not even an option, and that is rare because as we've said before, the United States government brags about having a 97% conviction rate on federal indictments, the vast majority of which they are able to obtain as a consequence of terrorizing people, intimidating people with the threat of decades in prison in order to force them into a plea deal. And the chairman's stance has always been, take them to trial, fight them, fight back. That has always been the stance of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And because the chairman stood up and fought, the era of the US government just getting away with scaring people into plea deals and securing automatic convictions is over. The chairman has even pointed out to us that while some might not see the immediate connection, even the case of Sean Combs or Diddy did not turn out the way the federal government thought it would, because this is a whole new era. This is an era where people stand up, they fight, they push back, and they can win. And there are many tactics that were deployed by that legal team that should be quite familiar to anybody who was there at the trial of the Uhuru 3. Not only that, there have been other cases like a Chinese union organizer in Boston named Li Tong Liang, who was charged around the same time we were with the exact same charges, failing to register as a foreign agent and conspiracy to act as a foreign agent without notifying the Attorney General. He did not take a plea deal. He argued the First Amendment. He was clearly inspired. His attorneys were clearly inspired by the victory of the Uhuru 3. And in February of this year, he was acquitted of all charges. So this is the landscape that has been created by the first precedent that was set, which is that the chairman and the Uhuru movement, the Uhuru 3, and you, the people who are part of this campaign, fought back and backed them down. And that has been an incredible victory that has continued to reverberate. The chairman made it clear that the political questions were of paramount significance. The question of freedom of speech was foundational, that we would not let them take this away from the question of freedom of speech. Everything that they had accused the Uhuru 3 of doing was quote unquote constitutionally protected free speech, political expression, anti-colonial freedom of speech, that African people have agency, don't need Russians to teach them or tell them to struggle against their oppression. That the chairman said we have to put the state on trial, and the Uhuru movement has nothing to defend. The US government has to defend itself. The ones who killed Martin Luther King, who killed Malcolm X, who destroyed the movement of Marcus Garvey and killed Marcus Garvey, and so many others, they have the criminal record, if you will, that they have to defend. And finally, that the First Amendment, as the chairman says, was written when African people were enslaved. It was not meant for African people. It was meant for white people. And therefore, any semblance of free speech rights that African people have achieved in this country have been as a consequence of life and death struggle. And who else would be at the vanguard, as the chairman says, of the fight for free speech, but African people who never had that right in this country to begin with. So when they attacked Chairman Omali Yeshitela's right to freedom of speech, they were attacking freedom of speech itself. And the chairman stepping forward to defend that right to freedom of speech was in defense of the freedom of speech for everybody. And that's why so many people from across the political and ideological spectrum came out and rallied behind the chairman as the champion of anti-colonial free speech. So this brings us to the question of our appeal. And in just a moment, I will be joined by Angela Rainey. And I want to salute all of the Uhuru 3 attorneys who did an incredible job carrying out this strategy in the courts of the colonial law. And that includes Mataki Akbar, Addie Griffin, Tom Inskeep, Leonard Goodman, and Angela Rainey, who we're going to be hearing from in just a moment. The appeal was filed on June 16th. This appeal has massive political and legal significance. A victory for this appeal will have implications far beyond the conviction of the Uhuru 3 on the bogus conspiracy charge. It will have implications for every single person who may find themselves in the crosshairs of US government repression for exercising their right to freedom of speech. So it's now my honor to bring on Angela Rainey, one of the Uhuru 3 attorneys whose contributions on the victory in the trial, in the sentencing, as well as her work on the appeal cannot be overestimated. Attorney Angela Rainey is a criminal defense attorney in Illinois. She formerly clerked in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals and the Southern District of Illinois. And along with Leonard Goodman, she formerly represents Chairwoman Penny Hess. Please welcome Attorney Angela Rainey.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Angela.
So,
all right.
It's certainly an honor to be here. And I just want to add on what you said about plea agreements, that it's definitely the fight that the Uhuru 3 was willing to put up was extraordinary in this case and really brave in the face of the time that they could have got and that they didn't take a plea agreement.
Uhuru. Thank you for that. And just salute the courage and stance of the chairman, 100%. And we wanted to talk with you, Angela, about this appeal, which I'm holding here. And I wanted to quote a line from the very beginning, which I found very striking, and ask you to break it down for us and explain what it means. So in the beginning of the appeal, there is a statement regarding oral argument in which the appeal requests oral argument for this appeal. And it says, this case involves complex legal questions, including an issue of first impression, whether the indictment of activists for political speech critical of the government violates the First Amendment to the Constitution, where the indictment alleges that the defendants were speaking as agents of Russia. So if you could just talk to us a little bit about what does that mean that it's a legal issue, a legal question of first impression?
So what that means is that the court hasn't considered this yet, and if they consider this question, it would set precedent for the whole circuit. So in this case, all of the conduct that the government alleged was unlawful was speech. And, their argument was, well, it's not speech anymore if you're doing it at the behest of another government. And, the Uhuru 3 was acquitted of working at the direction or control of another government, but they were convicted under the conspiracy statute. So we are still arguing that, you can't convict someone where it's all protected speech and speech doesn't lose its protection like that. So this is going to be for the first time for the 11th Circuit to consider this issue. And that makes it very important that, this could affect several district courts in that area, that if they come out and say this is First Amendment protected speech, then that means from now on the government can't target people that are speaking and, exercising their First Amendment rights.
Right. Thank you. And of course, it doesn't mean that the US government won't try, but the victory of this appeal would arm the people to be able to fight back. So that's really exciting. And yeah, if you could say a little bit more about, like, on a practical level, what that would look like how things would go, when we win this appeal, what it would look like for someone who may face charges similar to these, how they would use the outcome of this appeal to fight back against what they're facing.
So in practice, what that would mean is if the government was to come against, another organization or person who was exercising their First Amendment rights that was engaged in speech, they could file a motion to dismiss and cite to this case, and this would be controlling. So that would arm someone to get their case dismissed, before they go through trial and go through all of this expense and time and the trauma that comes along with it.
Now, I really appreciated the point that was made in the appeal, that the logic behind this notion that if someone speaks, if someone is alleged to have spoken on behalf of a foreign government, their speech is no longer speech. It is no longer protected, is circular logic, because that means, unless this appeal wins and, like you said, provides a precedent that is controlling, the US government can just accuse anyone at any time of having a relationship to a foreign government and then turn their speech into a criminal act. That's the precedent that they were trying to set with this case. So it's really powerful to hear how that would be combated by winning this appeal.
Yes, definitely. And the effect, right now of the conviction is to scare others, to keep others from, expressing their views and engaging in activism. So I think a victory on this would certainly help, the fear of course, you would be scared to go work with someone from another country because maybe the government could construe that and come, as you working with another country when that's not the case. So I think this certainly would relieve a lot of fears that people have.
Real. Another issue you've spoken on, Angela, in past events that we've done is this whole question of conspiracy law. And, this case is not the first time that the US government has used conspiracy law to frame up, especially African people and Palestinians and other colonized peoples, including in political cases, but also just in general. It's a tool that has been used time and time again. Could you talk a little bit about how this law was used in this case and how we are challenging it and just the implications of that for the question of conspiracy law?
Yeah, so this is conspiracy has certainly been used historically to silence dissent. We see that as a tool of the state is able to engage in self-preservation by using that tool. And we've seen it used historically. I mean, way back farther than what I'm going to talk about even, but as an example, in the 1960s, the Chicago 7 trial took place where they were charged with conspiracy. And you saw themes throughout that trial, much as the same way that you saw themes throughout the Uhuru 3 trial, that they were engaging in conduct where they were rejecting capitalism, they were calling out colonialism and things like that. So, and we saw the government in that case engaged in trying to frame those individuals as being evil people. You saw that language, that they were taking advantage of and corrupting kids to further this conspiracy. So, those are the themes that really represent what the government is using these laws to target. And in this case, we saw that too in the indictment. It wasn't just that they weren't alleging just that this crime had been committed. They used a narrative to paint the Uhuru movement as something that it certainly was not. So, and it's really, why do they use this? It's because it's easier to prove. When you go to trial, the government has to prove you're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. To get an indictment, though, and to get a warrant, it's much easier. You just have to just show that someone, first of all, in a conspiracy, you don't have to necessarily commit the act. And then the burden of proof is much lower. So they just have to believe that you might have committed this crime. It's much less evidence that they have to prove. And they still, even with that tool there, they achieve their goals. And it scares people, it silences people, it drains funds from organizations that are struggling to keep afloat and to support their activism. And, the harm from it's real, the trauma from being arrested flashbang grenades is real, and the emotional toll of going through a trial, the destruction of property. So, this is a tool to really achieve those goals that the government may want to achieve.
Thank you so much, Angela. I have one last question. If you could talk about what comes next for the appeal, what are the next steps, and what should people be looking out for?
Okay, so we filed our appeal brief, as Jesse was holding up there, and that's the last thing that's been done in this appeal. Right now, we're going to wait for the government to respond to our appeal. And that could take a few months. They normally will ask for extensions, so we're going to wait around for that. And then after they file, we'll get a chance to file a reply brief so we can argue to the court that, they're wrong. We'll get another chance to express our points in that reply brief. So after that, we've requested oral argument. And in the 11th Circuit, they don't automatically grant you oral argument. They have to believe that this is an issue that's worth their time. And I think we've certainly made that case. And I believe that we'll have oral argument. If we get that, it will be in Atlanta. And there's a courtroom. You can certainly come watch the appeal. There won't be a lot of room, though. It's going to be our problem. But that will be something that we'll discuss closer to time.
All right. And that reminds me, I want to appreciate Angela, who was the one that made it possible for us to get the largest courtroom in the courthouse for the trial. So we'll have to look into that again, because, we're going to be back in the court once again.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Angela. Really appreciate you being on with us. Any final words you wanted to share? And there will be questions and things like that. So it would be great if you're able to stay on.
Yes, I can stay on, and it's an honor to be part of the legal team in Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yes, really want to salute. We see there's a lot of, shout outs in the chat. Salute Angela for her contributions to this case, revolutionary. That's from Ann. Comrade Jill Stein says, bravo, Angela. Amanda says, Uhuru, Angela. So yes, more to come. And it really is a brilliant document. And I know, it's probably about 55 pages of unprecedented legal documents. So go to handsoffuhuru.org. If you click the About tab and you scroll down to court documents, you'll get a chance to see all of the documents that have been filed, but the appeal brief is definitely one to take a look at and share. So thank you, Chair Jesse, for leading that segment and for just giving us the overview of, what's ahead. And if people have questions, please hold your questions for when we get a chance to, open it up briefly.
Uhuru,
yes, go ahead.
Should I continue with the section on the repeal campaign, or?
Yes, go ahead now.
Okay. I'll be expeditious, as the chairman says. So I just really want to thank Attorney Angela Rainey for that great discussion and for all of the incredible work that she and Leonard and the attorneys have done to file this appeal. And I think that was a perfect lead-in, talking about the repressive character of these laws to this campaign, the next step politically for Hands Off Uhuru, that we want to use today's webinar to invite people to join this committee, including Jill Stein, John McCarthy over here, Caleb, everybody to come in and be a part of the committee to fight for the abolition of the foreign agent laws and conspiracy laws that are used to silence and attempt to destroy African and other oppressed peoples and to destroy free speech. So I'm excited to talk about this campaign. And first, I want to again thank the chairman for struggling for this campaign to happen and for giving us the political context for why this campaign is so important. So if you go to the next slide, this is the main political context that we have to understand. This, by the way, is a picture of a statue of Dred and Harriet Scott here in St. Louis in front of the old courthouse, where on the steps of the old courthouse, enslaved African people were sold, which I think is a perfect symbol of colonial law. When the chairman talks about colonial law, the Uhuru Movement's understanding of the law is rooted in the understanding of colonialism, the domination of a whole people by an oppressor nation backed by the state. And as the chairman teaches us, you really can't understand the law or a legal system without understanding its foundation, its economic foundation, its origin, how those laws came about, whose interests those laws were intended to serve. And, the chairman always says these laws didn't come from God. These laws emerged as part of the superstructure of this system of colonialism that are meant to reinforce that system, to reinforce that mode of production. So the chairman sums it up perfectly when he says the colonizers create the law, but colonialism is illegitimate. Colonialism is an illegitimate process. These laws were not brought about through just some, innocent civil process of drafting statutes. They were brought about through pillage, slavery, genocide, and bloodshed. So taking on the campaign to repeal 3 of those laws, the Foreign Agent Registration Act, the 951 Foreign Agent Law, and the General Conspiracy Statute, gives us the ability to go to the very heart of the colonial question. And it gives everyone, including white people, the opportunity to see our interests in uniting with the colonized, with African people in the struggle for democratic rights, self-determination, and freedom of speech. So if you go to the next slide, the foreign agents and conspiracy laws are explicitly political laws. All laws are political, but these laws are explicitly political. They were created back in the 1930s with the explicit purpose of attacking and silencing people who were accused of speaking out against the first imperialist war. I mean, they come from the Espionage Act and other kinds of laws that were formed during that time and which ended up being used primarily against African and other oppressed peoples. And, the chairman pointed out, no one is taking on a campaign like this right now. We have to step forward. We have to take this on. We have to make this a foundational demand of our work going forward. And I want to quote the chairman. He says, any success we have contributes to weakening, even if only in principle, the concept of a foreign agent law. We will challenge the illegitimacy of the whole colonial process by using the democratic principles supposedly ensconced in the Constitution and the very fabric of the United States. And I also want to point out that this is another point the chairman's made. There are the sectors of the ruling class that have an interest in seeing these laws challenged because these sectors of the ruling class have weaponized these laws against each other. The Trump administration, several people associated with Trump were indicted and even imprisoned under the Foreign Agent Registration Act by the Democrats. And then the same Democrats declined to press foreign agent registration charges against Hunter Biden, despite mountainous evidence that he was taking millions of dollars from a gas company in Ukraine. So this question is raging and it's already falling apart. The Attorney General under Trump announced that the Foreign Agent Registration Act laws would not be enforced except in cases of espionage. So there are already cracks in the armor that are happening. And this is a very important time for us to seize the moment and drive the nail in the coffin of these repressive laws. The Uhuru 3, next slide. The Uhuru 3 was the canary in the coal mine. I think this has been summed up very well already. That picture of Nancy Pelosi was not that long after they raided the Uhuru Movement. She was obviously, gassed up about it. And she was telling people that Palestinian protesters in New York should be investigated for ties to Russia and China. So it was clearly they were trying to use the playbook of the attack on the Uhuru 3. And we're seeing more and more of that happening now. Next slide. So our mission is to build a committee and a popular campaign to demand the repealing of FARA, 951, the General Conspiracy Statute, and other repressive laws. Next slide. These are just some examples of those who have been targeted by foreign agents laws in this country. Of course, the example of the chairman and the Uhuru 3, W.E.B. Du Bois, who was charged under the Foreign Agent Registration Act.
Oh, go ahead, comrade. What happened here? Did we lose St. Louis?
But I think this is a great time to thank everybody who has donated so far. I just want to say, you know, you've seen all of the work that's been done. You see the organization. We've heard from Attorney Angela Rini, and you know, I just have to say that so far we've raised $3,210, which means we only have $11,790 left to go. So if 24 people donate $500, we've reached our goals. And so far, the donors are MQ, got to salute Esther, Comrade Lisa, Jonathan, Barbara, Ann, Michael, Zoe, Becky. We have an anonymous donor, Hallie, Leah, Betty, Comrade John, Comrade Maureen, Comrade Johan, and Comrade Ali. So want to salute all of our donors. And, you know, I think if we can move towards, we have some live statements that we want to make, and you know, comrades who are coming on, I'll call out about 4 or 5 comrades who are going to come on, and oh, I just got an alert. Got to salute Comrade Jill Stein for the contribution as well. But you know, this is you know, that we want to hear live from our different comrades. Comrade Penny Hess. We're going to hear from Comrade Lisa Davis, the vice chair of the Black is Back. Comrade Marcia Coleman Adebayo. And you know, I believe Jesse Todd is in the room. So if we get that reconnection going, we can have Jesse Todd come on, including Paulette from the Leonard Peltier Ad Hoc Committee. So just want to salute again all of our donors and everybody who is contributing to you know, set the record straight and get and make sure that we have freedom in our lifetime. Yes. So just wanted to say, you know, two minutes, if we start with Comrade Penny Hess, and then Comrade Lisa Davis, then third Marcia Adebayo, and then Jesse Todd, and then Paulette. So following that order, Uhuru, Comrade Chairwoman Penny Hess, are you on?
Uhuru, can you hear me?
Okay,
sure can, Uhuru.
Right, Uhuru. Wow, I just really want to salute this incredible event today. I really want to salute that great presentation led by Comrade Jesse Neville and certainly our incredible lawyer, Angela Rainey, one of the Uhuru 3 attorneys. And I want to salute my leadership, Chairman Omali Shatella, Deputy Chair Ona Zanea Shatella, and to just salute this great event, Jill Stein, and all of the great comrades and friends who are here, who have stood with the Uhuru 3, with Chairman Omali Shatella since day one. Really powerful, came out to the trial, came out to the sentencing. Wow. I mean, this shows that the fight for anti-colonial free speech and the liberation of Africa and African people and all oppressed peoples is strong. It is winning. It is the dominant force fighting for free speech and civil and democratic rights for all people inside this country and around the world. So I want to salute that. And I just want to say that it is an honor to work under the leadership of Chairman Omali Shatella, to know that this attack by the government was an attack on the chairman, with Jesse and I, the attack on Jesse and myself, being part of the attack on the chairman. So they wanted to scare white people away, but Uhuru Solidarity Movement is building, it is growing, and it is strong. that white people have the opportunity now to say that we stand here on the forward side of history. And just to say that the chairman always taught us that we would follow the words of Che Guevara, who said, solidarity is not about well-wishing. It is about sharing the same fate, whether in victory or death. And that we get to share this victory being under the leadership of Chairman Omali Shatella. So I salute this event. I salute my leadership. Chairman Omali Shatella is brilliant. And thank you for having us on today. Uhuru. Uhuru. We are winning.
Uhuru. And Comrade Lisa Davis, are you available?
Uhuru, I'm available.
Uhuru.
And I just want to first say that if I'm talking a little funny, I'm in the process of having dental work done, you know how that can be. But I just want to say with everything in my heart, every cell in my body, every part of my DNA, that I am just so honored to be a part of this movement. And I had the chance to witness from day one of these horrific attacks how the Uhuru Three never wavered. They never faltered. They stood up fearlessly. And just to what Comrade Penny Hess was saying about how they went after them because they are white and they want to give a message to white people, we should know that under the Biden administration, they closed the investigation on Carolyn Bryant, basically allowing her to die without having to ever pay in any kind of way at all for her murder of Emmett Till. But while they closed the case on her, they went after Jesse Neville and Penny Hess. So that's a clear message that they were giving. I want to also just say, I have always said that I think that Chairman Omali Shatella is one of the foremost strategists for liberation and for fighting colonialism in our times, because it's not just that they fought, but their choice in how they fought, that he chose to not be silent. He chose to talk about the case. Many times people are advised, if they're under investigation, to not say anything. They did not do that. He fought brilliantly, and that was just awesome to witness, and also to know that they offered up to $10 million in rewards for anyone who had anything to say against, the Uhuru Three and this case. And what we know what that means. That means they will bribe people. That means they will make people lie. That means they will threaten them, do all kinds of things. That's how they get their so-called witnesses. But no one took the bait. No one did that. And I attribute that to the political ideology of the Uhuru movement. And it is just a strong movement. If I'm the vice chair of the Black is Black Coalition, Black people, you need to be involved with the Black is Black Coalition for sure. But certainly within the various ways that people can get involved with the Uhuru movement and the Hands Off Uhuru Solidarity movement, you should, especially during these terrible, terrible, turbulent, horrible times. And you won't find yourself feeling so desperate to choose between two warmongering criminals to put in office. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. And then do we have Marcia Coleman Adebayo?
Yes, I'm here.
Uhuru.
Hi. Yeah, it says that they're unable to start the, okay, good. Yeah, there we go. Hi, good morning, everybody. Uhuru. Can you hear me?
We sure can. And I see a comment says,
Uhuru
Uhuru,
Sasa.
Marcia.
Yeah, freedom now. I just wanted to thank Sister Lisa, Comrade Lisa, for all the work she does and for the entire family of the Uhuru movement. It's an amazing movement that the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition is extremely proud to be allied with. Our struggle is protracted, and laborers are few, and victories are intermittent. But the Uhuru Three showed the entire nation what political sacrifice and commitment looks like. They were prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, as the attorney mentioned a few minutes ago, but the gods would not demand this. On a December 16th morning, Chairman O'Malley proudly walked out of a Florida courthouse, unbowed, uncompromised, not in a Western suit that would have indicated his capitulation to playing the game, but clothed in garments that connected him to the richest continent on this planet. Sounds could be heard from inside the courthouse. For those of us standing in the corridor, that signaled that against all odds, that we as a people had won again. When Chairman O'Malley emerged from the courthouse, from the courtroom, with his fist in the air, what was clear was that the struggle was about more than one man, or even the Uhuru Three. It was about a system that was flailing. And we, fortunate enough to be in the courthouse, were witnessing the beginning of the end of a murderous, white supremacist, economically deranged system in hospice. That day reminded me of a phone call that I received from my dear, dear, dear friend, Glenn Ford. And Glenn called to tell me years ago that he wanted me to meet Chairman O'Malley. From his investigation, Chairman O'Malley was the real deal, and Black Agenda Report was going to back this movement. And Glenn invited me to a meeting to meet Chairman O'Malley, and the rest is history. So Chairman O'Malley has been a source of comfort and inspiration to those of us committed to fighting a deranged economic system against developers and political operatives intent on destroying and covering up the murders of millions of Africans, particularly children, in the fight against desecration of African burial grounds. In fact, we define the desecration of African ancestors as the strategy of those in power to cover up the murders, rapes, torture, kidnapping of African people, particularly children, by destroying the material evidence of their crimes against humanity. This is the kind of insight one gathers not from academia, but from street level struggle. And we thank Chairman O'Malley for his leadership, his courage, commitment, and passion that has fueled and inspired not only the Uhuru Movement, but movements such as the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition. Our patron saint, General Harriet Tubman, reminds us that we are at war. And she adds, why should we be silent? And I'd also just like to give a shout out to my colleagues at WPFW Pacifica in the Washington, D.C. area that allowed me during the trial to go on air and talk about what was happening in Florida. We've learned from the experiences of the Uhuru Movement, the Civil Rights Movement, the Black Panther Party, and liberation movements throughout the world that when we fight, we win. So we join you in saying Uhuru, and we add Uhuru Sasa, which is freedom now, and one Africa. Thank you so much.
Uhuru, so
Uhuru.
powerful, so powerful. And it really resonates with me because I think about, the Take Back the Dome campaign, and Tropicana Field was in St. Petersburg, Florida, was built on Black bodies, literally. And so just want to salute all of the incredible work that you are doing. Next, we have Jesse Todd. Is Jesse Todd on?
See if St. Louis can answer that question for us.
Yeah.
I think he might be on the ground in the Uhuru.
And well, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody who has donated. We got a couple of new donors.
Yes.
We have Yusuf, we have Comrade Afia, we have Comrade Yindu. So our new total is $3,500. We only have $11,500 remaining. And just a reminder, you can make your donations at handsoffuhuru.org/donate. So go and donate now so we can reach our goal. Uhuru. Did we manage to get Comrade Jesse Todd?
And I see Comrade Jesse Todd. And before we bring up the comrade, if Paulette Dautier, if you're on the call, let us know in the chat and we'll promote you and bring you up as well. So we'll turn it back to the People's Alderman, Jesse Todd.
Uhuru comrades, I would like to give a shout out to Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the other Uhuru and the other Uhuru 3, Jesse Neville and Penny Hicks, for their courageous stand. Chairman Omali Yeshitela has spent a lifetime fighting for his birthrights in this country when he shouldn't even have to even get into SNCC. He shouldn't have to be into any organization because he was right. Those issues that he has been fighting for are covered by the Constitution, but he didn't let that stop him. He started off with SNCC and putting his life on the line, having some time to deny his family and everything else. But he has always articulated, prioritized, and delivered on the most oppressed sector of the African working class, and that's African women, because he coined the phrase African women, working class women, not just African women, but African working class women must lead. And in those programs, you can see it in the work. We look at DC owner. We also can look at in ways, Chairwoman right here, who worked them over, gave them a good licking, right there, and beat them up. And then she's coming back and we're gonna beat them again under her leadership. That's leadership. Then the chairman took a baby, 18-year-old baby, Achilles, out in Florida with Chairman Neville. They raised the issue of reparations, and they raised it so hard. That's the only reason the government got scared and indicted them. They did absolutely nothing. Just run. They told them to run in the election, run in the bourgeois election like I did as alderman, in St. Louis. We didn't have the content they had, so they didn't lock us up. But you start running, hitting with some heavy stuff, they came right after telling them to run in the election. So we also, so we can see that, and then we have a doula program. That's what they were mad about too, because in St. Louis, it is estimated that every year enough kids to fill 15 kindergarten classes die from childbirth, and that is genocide. That is nothing but genocide right there. So, and then we the independent newspaper, the independent radio that's open in Florida now and coming to St. Louis. What the imperialists want, they don't want the message to get out because they know they're lying. They know they've been stealing. They know they've been cheating. They know they've been killing, doing everything. And then they throw up a constitution and religion. The only group that I know that's really following Jesus Christ, and this is not a religious group. I am Penny Hicks, Jesse Neville, and Omali. I'm not saying they follow what Jesus teaches, but they're not a religious group, so we don't promote religion. But I'm telling you, the kind of people that are whether it be Biden or whether it be Trump and all the rest of the Democrats and Republicans, they certainly don't follow religion. Their religion is imperialism. Capitalism, and certainly it certainly doesn't put people first. So let me say this: at the end of the day, what we have to do, we always say that when we fight, we win. But I would say some fighting, some victory, more fighting, more victory. We're gonna keep on fighting to complete victory. So what we got to do, we got to raise some money. But I put my mouth where my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna get $100 out of my pocket And I'm a senior on a fixed income. I know there are people out there. They said America, on the average, Americans throw away $1,500 a year worth of food. There's somebody out there that is throwing away $1,500 worth of food. There are others out there that can miss the lottery, the Starbucks, that tied into some preacher. Now, I'm not saying your preacher, your churches, but I tied a minimal amount. But I do the work with the Uhuru Movement. I'm a lifetime member. And they asked me just at church, where's your tithe? I said, you go to the Uhuru house. They don't. I tell them a preacher. You go over there, they have a real church over there. They follow Jesus over there. So I'm giving to them. I'm not giving you a dime. You should be tithing to them too. So I'm asking you, I'm not saying that I only go to one church, so I'm not saying what they're doing at your church because I don't know. I don't know your preacher. I don't know your rabbi. I don't know your whatever you call them. But I tell you what, you can cut down on your tithe and bring that money and donate to the Uhuru Movement. There are other people wouldn't even have the jobs they got if it wasn't for the Uhuru Movement. Because of Yeshitela on the stick, more than we have, even in the African community, more than 10,000 black elected officials. Even the gay movement wouldn't be where it is today. If you're gay and you're benefiting, getting married and you're hugging and loving, they used to lock you up. It was against the law. Then the same thing with the women's movement. The women's movement, soon as the black movement did the same as when slavery was going on. It went out and got some gains talking about minorities. Everybody was a minority. You got some money out of it. There's some listening person got money out of that too. Send some of that money back. Send it in. And so all of these movements, they talk about equity, inclusion, and diversity, and all that other stuff. Yeah, Trump is cutting it out, but you got some of the money while it's going is getting good, and you donate some of that money. Every white person owes reparation. Every white person is getting an extra benefit for being white. That's why you like being white. And why don't you call yourself black if it's good? You say, I'm not white. You ain't gonna find too many white people. All the white people I ever met that say that it's being white is bad is you solidarity people and the African people's chairwoman of the African people. This petty chairwoman has, look what this woman has done. And a whole career, whole lifetime of her lifetime, getting ready to go to jail, as a young lady, because I'm going to say you, getting ready to go to jail up to 15 years. She didn't flinch. Now, nobody can tell me somebody out there can't send in, they can just write the $15,000 off and get that done. So if you can't get out and be in the movement, and you are benefiting from being white, or benefit from being gay, or benefiting from getting a job, you can send some of that money in, because some of you all out there listening, you haven't done anything but took the money and run, and now you're sitting back trying to spend it on everything, and send some of that money into the Uhuru 3. So again, when we fight, we win. Some fight, some victory, more fighting, more victory. We're going to keep on fighting till we win this thing. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. That's what I'm talking about.
Uhuru.
Man. All right. So we're going to move on to Comrade Paulette from the Leonard Peltier Ad Hoc Committee. Are you on, Comrade?
Yes, Uhuru. It's so wonderful to see all of you again. It's been a while since you were in court and I got to spend time with you. I want to thank you so much, and this is going to be short because it's so important that people contribute to this appeal. It's a necessary appeal that will open the courts for many of the people from the Cop City charges. And so we have to make sure that the Uhuru 3 appeal wins. but I want to thank the Uhuru Movement for its material aid and support to help Leonard come home. I got to spend time with Leonard the first time outside of the walls since 1973. And he would send his regards today, but he is not allowed to make statements due to the fact that while he was released from prison, he is still under the control of the Bureau of Prison. He has parole conditions that we are working to alleviate so that at some time in the future, he and the chairman will be able to visit them and have dinner together, break bread, and look at the struggles of the indigenous people and the struggles of the African people here in the United States and around the world for self-determination and sovereignty. So thank you so much for all you've done. If you'd like more information, you can go to freeleonardpeltiernow.org, and that will keep you updated. But I want to encourage everybody, and that's white people, like the comrade said ahead of time, that if we want to fight white supremacy, we need to stand in solidarity of reparations for our African comrades, and we need to raise money so that there are no new political prisoners. As you know, I also work with Jericho, so we would like to keep the chairman and Jesse and Penny at home where they belong, continuing their work. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Definitely want to salute you and all of the incredible work. Salute Leonard Peltier and all freedom to all political prisoners.
Thank you.
Uhuru, absolutely. Do we have our Secretary General Luwezi from the African Socialist International located in Britain on?
Yes, yes. There's SG Luwezi right there. Uhuru.
Excellent. And we'll bring on SG Luwezi, and then we'll bring on Tafari from South Africa. And there'll be, you know, about a 10-minute presentation for Africa, but we've got a couple minutes for SG Luwezi. And I also want to just salute our new donors, Comrade Jesse Todd, who we just heard from, Marcia Coleman Adebayo, Comrade Janice Kant, and our new total is $4,050. And so we're almost a third of the way there. We only have $10,950 left to go. Oh, and we just got another one in. Got to salute Comrade Stephanie Mildler for donating too. So go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and make your contribution today. All right, Uhuru SG Luwezi.
Yes, Uhuru, Comrade Geneva and Uhuru Chair Mwezi. It's a really great pleasure to be in this program. I'd just like to begin to salute Chairman Omari Stella, DC Ona Yeshitela, Director Akili Anai, Chairwoman Apenius, and Chair Jesse Nebo for surviving the FBI's vicious attacks on July the 29th, 2022. I salute the Chairman for leading the counteroffensive that has led us to a great victory in the U.S. colonial courtroom. I salute Chairman O'Malley for putting the question of free speech on the world map on our own terms under the leadership of the African anti-colonial movement. I salute everyone in the UK and Europe who worked tirelessly to push back the U.S. colonial attacks against who were free. The FBI's 29 July attacks was an attack against the future of humanity. As you may know, the future of Africa, Palestine, Venezuela, and all oppressed nations and peoples is in the revolution. Not just any revolution, but in a revolution led by the vanguard party of the African working class, whose historical mission is to end the colonial model of production, upon which depends the entire world capitalist system. They wanted to stop the future, but they have failed. They wanted to stop more than 50 years of relentless strategic leadership and vision of Chairman Ishitela, they failed. The relentless struggle between world socialism and world colonialism is more than ever alive. The sharpest sign of irreversible decay and decline of US-led world colonial system is in the rise and return of the anti-colonial movement led by African and other colonized workers inside the US borders. Send the US colonial ruling class fast to the dustbin of history. Build the future fast. Put the African working class in charge everywhere. Build the vanguard party of the African independence in our lifetime. Build the vanguard party for world socialism in our lifetime too. Long live Chairman of Maricela. Long live the Uhuru Free. Drop all charge now. Or
Uhuru.
True.
We also want to bring on Comrade Asa Tufari from South Africa or Occupied Azania. We have 10 minutes for Africa. Are you on, Comrade?
Yes.
Uhuru, excellent.
Uhuru. Thank you, Comrade Jennifer and Comrade S.G. Mwezi, Chairman Penny Hess, and everyone that's responsible for just organizing this event. And it's just unbelievable that it's been 3 years now in this struggle against the vicious attacks by imperialism on the Uhuru movement and Chairman Amalia Shitela. As it has been said, I am Tafara. I'm in South Africa right now, occupied Azania. And I just want to check if we have any other comrade from Africa, because I made a request for some of the comrades to be here with me today. And I just want to say that, 3 years ago when this happened, we got a call to say that, we have just been attacked and, we had to respond in terms of just showing imperialism that is no longer, that period when they can just attack African people in one area and then they just have to deal with Africans over there. But then, as African people, we are a dispersed nation all over the world, and we have gained that national consciousness to recognize that we are not just, African peoples who are just, have that sense of sameness in terms of our skin color and things like that. But then we share much more than that. It's one struggle, it's one nation, one people. We have a common history as African people, and we're suffering against imperialism. And, when you look at everything that we're experiencing right now, I'm in the township of South Africa in Johannesburg, and just how over the years the chairman and the Uhuru movement have described the experiences of African people in terms of housing, in terms of unemployment, in terms of the violence from the police. Asa is here, I see him, and he was, just telling me that, there are more Africans that get killed by the police in South Africa, statistically, than in the US. And, that's something that never gets talked about because, it's kind of normalized in South Africa. And most of the incidents don't even make it to the news or anything like that, And as Chiluezi once made a comment that in Africa, you will never see a situation whereby a white person has been humiliated or killed by the police, ever. Right now, as we speak in South Africa, there is a campaign by some reactionaries to suggest that African people that come from across the colonial borders from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Nigeria and other places are foreigners and should not be in South Africa and things like that, And we saying that, that's absolutely nonsense, because 80% or more of the land here in South Africa is in the hands of colonizers, the real foreigners. It's not in the hands of the people, And And when you look at the whole political landscape in South Africa, with all the different political parties and stuff, no one is really speaking in a serious way against this reactionary campaign against African people. Some of them are silent. Those that used to, make some comments to say that we are Africans, Pan-Africanism, and all these things. Right now, they are quiet because they are scared that maybe they might lose some votes, or they might lose some funding and things like that. So there is that type of campaign. And we have taken this stance to say that African people are one because we learned from the African People's Socialist Party. We learned from Chairman Omali Yeshitela with African internationalism. And most of the time, we don't even have to wait to ask what should be the response. We know what the response is supposed to be based on the fact that we have studied the political theory of African internationalism, which informs us about this social system that we exist in right now. And beyond just the colonial conditions that we live with daily, here in Africa and other places, in Europe and in America, in terms of our struggle, our people have always been conscious of the fact that it's one struggle, And when you look at, for example, in the 1970s here in South Africa, and even in the 60s, especially in the 70s, the Soweto youth uprising, when the young people marched, and then you had a lot of them getting gunned down, high school kids getting gunned down by the police. And when you ask people about that period, they will tell you that it was Black Power. I got that from my mother, who was around at that time. She was not political or anything like that, and she said that during the Black Power events, and I was shocked to say, how do you know that it was Black Power? It was because everybody called it Black Power, and that inspiration came from our struggle in the United States and other places across the world. So it's one struggle everywhere. And these attacks on the Uhuru tree and Chairman Omali Yeshitela, it's a continuation of these efforts by imperialism to undermine the struggle of African people to free ourselves, not only in St. Louis or in St. Petersburg, but all over the world, even here in South Africa, is the same thing. So we don't feel like we are just supporting something that's happening over there in America, but then we are challenging, the very thing that's responsible for the misery that we live in with here in occupied Azania and other places across the world. So we went to, I'm self-critical that I don't have a presentation here in terms of pictures and stuff, because we were supposed to show you what we did. We went to the US Embassy and Consulate several times, with submitting memorandums to say that they must hands off the Uhuru Movement. And, so we did that, and with people from the townships, from Everton, from Koposi, African workers, and right here in my community. The whole struggle against the FBI with the Uhuru tree is not on the news in South Africa. The bourgeois media is not there, but then the people in the townships, they are aware of this struggle. They are aware of the Uhuru tree. They know who Comrade Jesse Neville, Penny Hess, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who they are. This whole struggle is known in the townships where we have branches of INPIDAM, because of we made sure that we take it there to the people, and whatever that needs to be done to make sure that we get rid of the whole thing, the whole ridiculous conviction of conspiring and whatever. We'll make sure that we continue to respond, and we go out there, we fight until not only we win this particular battle, but then the entire struggle, of African people to be free. So I'm gonna allow Comrade Asantu to, wrap it up for us, and just to say Uhuru to everyone that's here. Uhuru.
Yeah, Uhuru Africa, Uhuru comrades, Uhuru to the comrades in solidarity from different organizations. I want to thank Chairman Omadi. I want to thank my leadership, SG Luezi, and Onazine Yeshitela, as well as Brother Tafari Sindisa Mugeri. You know, I want to appreciate what you've said, Chairman, because, you know, here in the African continent, we often get this disjointed relationship between ourselves and ourselves in the United States. And so with the leadership of Wichemin Omali and leaders such as yourself and others in the Uhuru Movement, other Africans, we have been able to start a great track to unify our nation. You know, one thing I wanted to say, just as part of wrapping things up, aside from acknowledging our leadership, was to say that seeing Uchemen Omali walking out of that room, I heard a comrade saying this, right? But that was a big deal for me. Just seeing Comrade Chairman Omali Yeshitela walking out of the room and pumping the hands of the people there. That was amazing because it showed the humanity of the Black Power movement and our humanity as African people in the struggle. Because people who enlist as FBI agents and all kinds of colonial terrorists do not recognize and are very easily warned to not recognize our humanity as African people, as human beings, as Palestinian people, as indigenous Chicano or native peoples in America, right? So that's something that I wanted to just say. It really struck me a lot. I thought it was beautiful just seeing the chairman walk out there with his smile. Oh yeah, 1968 all over again, baby. I loved also to say that it was the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, as well as according to what the comrades had said here, has been a historical movement that summed up the power of the people versus the pigs. You know, yeah, just even from the beginning of this webinar, as we are seeing the video of the FBI attacking our Uhuru house and our homes, to the end point of us kicking the ass of the ruling class with the power of the people. I think that summed up the entire movement of the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, and I think it was beautiful. I think Chairman Omali Yeshitela set an example for African and other freedom-loving peoples to follow. And I want to shout out all of you comrades. I want to thank you, Sister Mwezi. I want to thank all our comrades here on this show. I want to thank Penny Hess and Jesse Neville. Uhuru, Black Power.
Uhuru, bring it up.
Uhuru. Powerful. Uhuru comrades. I think SG Loazy, were you trying to come back? Let me we just have a quick announcement actually. I'm gonna see if he can come back on here. You need us to have you unmute. There we go.
Yes, yes, just to say that we first I want to thank the comrades in Europe and Africa basically for doing whatever we have to do to meet the goal that was set, and so we have fulfilled our obligation. So the donation $500 has been done, and we're looking forward to to see that goal, the overall goal met, because that's the way we can say we are winning. We want to meet our goal. So everyone who's listening, please make your contribution. Let's win by meeting our goals. So thank you, everyone. Yes, sir.
Uhuru, thank you, SG Loazy. So that was a $500 contribution made to the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back. And so if you want to match that $500 contribution, you can go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. I want to appreciate that generous donation that came from the African Socialist International, which is the African People's Socialist Party represented all throughout the world, and also came from our comrades, as you heard in Comrades Director Tafari and Comrade Asa with APSP South Africa, or Occupied Azania. So thank you, comrades, for that profound contribution. And I'm going to go ahead and read off some of our other donations that have come in. Then I'm going to kick it back to my co-MC Jainaba, who's taken us through these really profound live salutes. So I want to really salute Comrade MQ for their $15 donation, Esther for your $40 donation, Lisa Davis, $25, Jonathan, $25, Barbara, $25 and $50, Michael, $100 donation. Thank you, Zoe, for your $50, Becky for your $50, an anonymous friend of Susan for $100. Also, I want to salute Hallie for a $400 donation, Leah, $500 donation, Betty, $250, John, $30. Thank you so much, comrade. Maureen, $500 donation, Johan coming in with $50. And we have Jill Stein, as we mentioned earlier, the amount was $50. Also, Allison with a $1,000 donation. Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you, Youssef, for your $100 donation. Afia, comrade sister Afia, $100. Inyindu, $40. Jesse, $100. Marsha, $200. Janice, $250. Stephanie, $50. Penny Hess, $100. And Redbeard, $250. So, comrades, that takes us total so far raised. Over 1/3 past our goal. We were at $4,450 raised towards the Hands Off Uhuru appeal. And that's just, and we're just getting started. And I just want to salute where people are also tuning in from. We have people tuning in from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Asheville, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Orlando, Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida, Gainesville, Florida, Orange County, California, occupied Mexico or Southern California, Tunisia, also Ecuador, and Ohio as well. And then also we have Louisville, Kentucky, Washington State, Oakland, California, Australia, and Marion County. So that's powerful, comrades. As we said, this is an anti-colonial free speech movement. And like we said, Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa. We are, we want to, get this at the source. And we're very clear that the primary contradiction that the African people face is colonialism. And I just really want to salute and appreciate all the salutes so far, and especially from our comrades on the ground. So I'm going to kick it back to our co-MC, my co-MC, Comrade Jainaba, and we want to remind everyone to keep our statements as we move on in the program brief so we can hear from everybody. And I'm going to kick it back to you, Comrade Uhuru.
Uhuru, yeah, I want to bring on Sister Fia Ngwaza, who's with the Malcolm X Center and with WXMP Radio. Are you on, Sister Fia?
I am on.
Uhuru, excellent. Good to see you.
It's my pleasure. I want to echo the call for Black Power. Yes, Black Power.
Black Power.
Uhuru, all power to the people. A salute to the visionary, determined, and joyous resistance and the anti-colonialism free speech public education campaign successfully launched by the Uhuru Movement under the visionary leadership of the happy warrior. You know, he ain't happy unless he is kicking the ass of the ruling class. Courageous and steadfast SNCC colleague and comrade Baba, Chairman Omali Yesatella. His fearless companions, Sister Penny Hess and Brother Jesse Neville. Big Uhuru salute to Mama Ona Janae Yesatella and her leadership in the envisioning and implementation of the Black Power Blueprint. A salute to the partners of Penny Hess and Jesse Neville, standing with our comrades and the principles of anti-colonial free speech. A further salute to the bold and brilliant attorneys who joined and supported the Uhuru 3 in successfully reviving the tradition of radical, novel, new theoretical litigation and legal challenges to the edifice of Anglo-US jurisprudence. It's an honor to add my voice to the celebration of the forward march of the struggle for the liberation of Black people, African people specifically, and of humanity generally. We are inspired and informed by your continuing to implement the Uhuru agenda on one hand and smashing the US government with the other. We are conscious that when we fight, we win. However, we're even more conscious that that fight is not free. As we used to say back in the day, freedom ain't free. Indeed, it is those who would be free that finance the struggle for freedom. That finance is a blow towards victory, as Frederick Douglass would remind us. So we urge today that all of us give, as they say in the church, till it hurts, because whatever pain we experience at the moment is not greater than the pain of oppression and of the war against us. In the honor of our ancestors, I'm reminded as I talk about donating and the necessity of donating, the politics of financing our own movement, I'm reminded of SNCC taking the position in support of the Palestinians back in the 60s. And as soon as it did, all Zionist funds that it had enjoyed were immediately terminated. Let that be a lesson to us. Let us be mindful that is those who would be free must strike the financial blow for freedom. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Excellent. And I want to really just salute that profound statement. And I do miss you. I can't wait to see you again. Uhuru. Uhuru. All right, next we have Caleb Maupin with CPI. Comrade Caleb, are you on?
I'm here.
All right, Uhuru.
Uhuru. And has it really been 3 years? It just seems like just yesterday I was hearing about the horrendous raid that happened, and I was on the phone with people in Florida trying to figure out how we could make a point of standing in solidarity with the Uhuru movement as a result of the horrendous activities by the FBI. It was great to be able to stand with your organization in Chicago immediately after the raid, and then it was great to honor you all, just a couple weeks ago back in Chicago once again. It's been a long ride, and it's not over yet. We've got to overturn the unconstitutional FARA law. We've got to overturn these conspiracy laws that are completely unconstitutional. So I'm going to be very quick. But my mother was a librarian, so I thought I would quickly honor Chairman O'Malley with three by referring to, I guess, 3 books. One of which is a classic, The Little Red Book. This is on page 15 of The Little Red Book, and I think it refers almost exactly to the Uhuru movement and their struggles. It says, this is Chairman Mao, "I hold that it is bad, as far as we are concerned, if a person, a political party, an army, or a school is not attacked by the enemy. For in that case, it would definitely mean we have sunk to the level of the enemy. It is good if we are attacked by the enemy, since it proves that we have drawn a clear line of demarcation between the enemy and ourselves. It is still better if the enemy attacks us wildly and paints us as utterly black and without a single virtue. It demonstrates that we have not only drawn a clear line of demarcation between the enemy and ourselves, but we have achieved a great deal in our work." Wow, that could be written in honor of Chairman O'Malley, because the reason that the Uhuru movement was attacked so viciously by the enemy was because it has achieved so much in its work. And then the second book that I'll refer to, right, one of Chairman O'Malley's most well-loved speeches is about, if Jesus was a revolutionary, why is your pastor not one? And I would refer to the Holy Bible. They asked Jesus, how do we know that you're for real? And he said, know them by their fruits. You shall know them by their fruits. And the fruits of Chairman O'Malley are everywhere to be seen in the Uhuru House in St. Louis, the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida, the activities that take place not just in this country but around the world and have changed so many lives, empowering people while teaching an anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist ideology, standing in solidarity with the countries around the world that are battling against colonialism. And I guess the final book that I want to highlight is the book we just published in honor of the great African leader Ibrahim Traore, because it was an honor not just to stand with the Uhuru Movement against this horrendous FBI attack and the criminal charges, but also in support of the hope of the African continent, this great leader of Burkina Faso. And we at Center for Political Innovation are very excited to do everything we can to honor the leader of Burkina Faso and his efforts to carry out economic rejuvenation and expansion in Burkina Faso. And it's a great honor to be able to work with the Uhuru Movement around that and stand in solidarity with Burkina Faso and with Ibrahim Traore. So I look forward to our continued collaboration around anti-imperialism, standing up for free speech, standing up for our civil liberties, and opposing the FBI attacks. We salute the Uhuru Movement and everything that they do. It has been really an honor to be able to be shoulder to shoulder with you in the struggle against the FBI, against the deep state, and against imperialism. Thank you for all that you have done and for protecting our freedom in federal court.
Uhuru, thank you for such an excellent statement. Do we have Comrade John McCarthy on as well from CPI?
Yes, hi. I'm here in St. Louis. And the Center for Political Innovation salutes Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party for fighting back and for the amazing victories that you have won so far. But it is essential that we achieve absolute victory on this question. We must have the freedom to tell the truth about the world. The system that we're living under here in North America, imperialism and colonialism, is dying. But the good news is there's a new system, a better system, a more human system that is being born in the global South and in the East. And the people have a right to hear about that. They have the need to know that they have a choice, and the world needs them to know that they have that choice. It is the job of the Center for Political Innovation to tell the people about that, about that truth, that they have an alternative to this system. And thanks to the bravery of the Uhuru Three, the discipline of the party, and the fighting skills of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, we have the ability to do that job. And we are grateful, and we are with you until Uhuru.
Uhuru. Wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yes. Salute.
Do we have Comrade Mark Anderson on?
I see him here. Let me prompt him to unmute.
Okay. Yeah, and I still want to thank everybody who is waiting. We have Sister Betty Davis, we have Yusef and Tasha live, we have Redbeard, we have Paolo. There's just a lot going on, including a video from South America, Hands Off Uhuru. So just want to
there's
thank
Mark.
Everybody.
Perfect.
Uhuru. I hope you can
Uhuru.
hear me. I wanted to salute the chairman and all of the Uhuru Three. I just wanted to recommend to everybody that if you get a chance, definitely read the appeal, because it was, I have to say, in this current period in particular, where it seems there's so much insanity, that it was therapeutic for me. And I, particularly as someone who sat through the trial, to just read the document that Leonard Goodman and Angelina Rainey have put together, it reminded me of sort of like a unrefereed boxing match where there's just, point after point or strike after strike. And it was not like I have sympathy with the state, but it was sort of like they're hitting them when they'd already knocked them down. So I think that Appeal was like incredibly well-written document, and as I said, a joy to read after sitting through the torturous experience of that trial, where it just seemed so incredibly unfair. I also want to, I'm not going to speak long. I just wanted to say, too, that those of you at the court know that at the sentencing point, the judge said that I'm not going to give any financial penalties because y'all would just raise the money anyway. And so, and he's right, of course, but that doesn't happen automatically. It's the people in this call, our friends, families, and others who will do that. I will certainly pledge my 500. I invite others to do so that we can demonstrate that what the judge said was actually true. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I just want to salute everybody who's donated so far, including that contribution that Mark just committed to. It looks like so far our new total is over $5,000. So we have less than $10,000 to raise. We have $9,975 that we need to raise. Johan's father, John, donated $50. So I want to salute you. And Kitty donated $25. So I want to salute everybody who's gone to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and made those contributions. Essentially with Mark, we're now at $5,525. So big salute to everybody. Do we have Sister Betty Davis up and ready to go live?
Yes, let's see here. There she goes.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. I just want to give a shout out to all of my comrades that are on the call today. I am going to definitely keep this short because I have to go to the Republic of Harlem to stand up for the people of Cuba who helped us keep Assata safe. And that is what revolutionaries do for each other. We have each other's back. And you had the Uhuru Three's back. But right now, you have to make the road by walking. And the way you make the road by walking is to dare to struggle and dare to win. And because you made the road by walking one path, only one path, in the history of the people's right to be free since the beginning of humankind, you made a path. And when you made that path, you enabled others to follow in your footsteps. And so now the people of Cop City in Georgia, and Cop City in Queens, and Cop City in Boston, and Cop cities all over the United States are seeing how to make the road by walking. And they are not agonizing, they are organizing. And so I'm not going to ask you for money for me. I'm going to ask you to ask someone you really, really love who is not convinced yet that this is everybody's struggle. You know, we all got them. People we love, biological family, political friends, but they don't make that commitment. I'm going to ask you to find somebody you know who can spare it and ask them to donate to the Uhuru 3. And what you're going to say to them is, listen, this is guaranteed. We did it before. If we triple, if we, quadruple our efforts, we can really take it on. This is not just a struggle for Uhuru 3. WBAI is in the crosshairs. And PBS and many other newspapers, they're in the crosshairs. And unfortunately, you saw the universities didn't have what it takes to ante up and fight back. They crumbled. So it's up to us. The issue of freedom is up to us. And we are hoping that you will join us. It's a good struggle. And I'm going to end with Queen Mother Moore, what she said in the 60s when I was coming out of college. And the statement that she said that recruited me was that you're not going to get rich doing this struggle. Don't expect that. But one of the things you're going to find as you walk along this road to freedom is you're going to meet some of the most awesome, wonderful comrades that have ever existed in the history of humans on this planet. And that's what we have here. We have that. We have that coalition. So let's find somebody else who loves us. And I don't mind quoting a rock and roll song. I ain't too proud to beg. No, I'll never be too proud to beg to keep my comrades out of the prisons. We couldn't keep Lynn out, but this crew, the Black is Back Coalition, helped get her out. And this crew helped get our beloved Peltier out. So let's keep it going. And let's keep the Uhuru 3 from going in. And if we can do that, then we're sending a message. We're not going to let them put our comrades who are going in or might go in if we don't do something about it from Cop City. This is bigger than us, and we can win this. We moved the earth forward in terms of human rights by our struggle in the 60s. And I am so happy that my brother on the continent of the motherland of Africa acknowledged that. So let's do it again. And thank you for letting me speak. Uhuru, Uhuru, Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru.
Remember our sister Carlotta of the Cuban history.
Yes.
She was the one who rose up and killed her enslavers. Let's not forget that example.
Uhuru.
Take care of yourselves.
Yes, Uhuru. And I love the banner in the background, saluting Ralph Pointer. Uhuru. Do we have Yusuf and Tasha?
Yes.
Uhuru, welcome. Uhuru.
Tasha is not here with me, but I'm speaking for both of us from the Joko Collective. And it's an honor to be here among comrades and particularly to salute Chairman O'Malley, to salute the Uhuru Movement, to salute the Solidarity Movement. So much has been said and enough can never be said. I think about, the legacy that the chairman has left, the institution building, right? And that's what's necessary. I know chairman has written about and talks about a dual and contending power and the importance of building alternative institutions to the colonial institutions. And the chairman has done that. One of those institutions, I just want to speak for a moment about the Burning Spear newspaper and certainly what it meant to me, what it meant to me as a college student back in the 80s, and then what it means to me now as a professor when one of my students comes to me and says what it means to them because of incarcerated family members who have access to the Burning Spear and the difference it makes in their lives and their understanding and their organizing behind the prison walls. So salute to you, Chairman. Salute to Penny and Jesse. And thank you for fighting back. And it's a testament, right, to the power of this movement, the power of the African People's Socialist Party and the vision that the fight back was used as an organizing platform and a way to grow the movement, grow coalitions, and continue to deepen the crisis of the empire And it is reaching its breaking point, which is why those alternative institutions are so important, so that we are prepared for the collapse of the empire, and then what beauty can rise from that. So thank you, Chairman. Salute to you. Salute to Chairwoman Penny. Salute to Chair Jesse. Salute to all the comrades in the coalition and in the Uhuru movement. Joko Collective is with you. We continue to offer our platform to help you get the message out. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share these thoughts. So, Uhuru.
Uhuru, excellent, excellent. Yes. I know we don't have too much time, but I do want to just salute everybody who's come on so far and made a live statement. Do we have Redbeard on?
We do.
Uhuru, welcome.
Uhuru,
Redbeard.
thank you. Good afternoon, and Uhuru, and thank you for this opportunity. I want to acknowledge the leadership of the party, APSC, Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and my local leadership of SF Oakland USM chapter, Wendy Snyder. The Uhuru Movement has been a profound influence on our family. Most of my work has been in Uhuru Foods and Pies, and I want to salute DC Ona Zane Ishitella and Comrade Maureen Wagner for their leadership. I met the chairman in 1977 during the July 4th movement to free Desi Woods and smash colonial violence. This was a decisive moment in the ideological struggle in the SF Bay Area. Sometime around 2014, the chairman spoke in the dingy back room of Modern Times bookstore in San Francisco. I recall only about 6 people attending, but as always, the chairman gave the full presentation of African independence, African self-determination, and white solidarity. Most moving for me on that night was he began by thanking us for coming out, all 6 of us, as he did most recently on the first day of the summer project. In both instances, this was very generous of him and very respectful of us. This then is my salute to the chairman. His political consistency, his unwavering respect for all members of USM. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. And want to also invite Paolo. Is Comrade Paolo on?
Yes, he is. There he goes. With Los
Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrade.
Wow, what
Uhuru.
an amazing event. Oh, can people hear me?
Yes.
Uhuru Paolo.
Uhuru champion.
I just want to salute this event so far. All the amazing, very, very moving testimonies that we've heard. And I'm so glad to have the honor to be able to introduce Comrade Paolo, the Peruvian Chasqui. And I know that you are a very important member of Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition and the events committee. And you are the chair or the leader of Los Ronderos de las Redes. And you are also part, along with Comrade Ann Leslie, building the South American front of Hands Off Uhuru. We are just launching this incredible branch of Hands Off Uhuru on the South America continent. So very exciting, and just wanted to welcome you today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Chair Penny and the Chair Mwezi for this introduction. Uhuru compañeros y compañeras, I want to first salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela for his tremendous leadership in the African People's Socialist Party, and to all our revolutionary comrades for their hard work in organizing the Uhuru Movement and fellow supporters of the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition, who are all walking the same road as our heroes and heroines from international struggles for the liberation of all colonized peoples throughout history. Los Ronderos de las Redes is honored to continue standing in deep solidarity with the Uhuru 3, APSP, and the Uhuru Movement through the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition, and as well as the international political prisoners who fight for national sovereignty against US imperialism, militarism, colonialism, and parasitic capitalism. The Latin American front has seen many cases of lawfare against the leftist presidents, such as the legitimate president Pedro Castillo, who has been languishing in prison for 962 days under the Comprador dictatorship in Peru. Former President Rafael Correa and Vice President Jorge Glass in Ecuador as well, and former President Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner in Argentina. From across the global south, colonized peoples have been forced to migrate to the global north because of colonial plundering, political persecution in their homeland, and destabilizing wars, coups, sanctions, and embargoes, and tariffs now imposed by the tyrannical US empire. From sea to shining sea of the United States, colonized peoples of African, indigenous, Latino, and Asian descent are literally experiencing a purge by deputized white supremacists under Donald Trump's terrorist state. This is a global state-sponsored human trafficking ring where Trump views the world as his dumping ground for kidnapped migrants to be sent to penal colonies or left stranded where people don't even have any relations with a foreign country, making it extremely difficult to leave. And Peru is amongst the list of developing nations that the US empire wants to forge an agreement with to deport migrants to their inhumane prisons, including South Sudan, including other countries in Asia, the Caribbean, and Central America. So the same tactics used internally by the oppressive state for its colonial policies of mass incarceration and forced deportations are disturbingly similar to how the military operations abroad are conducted by the US and their CIA-backed coup dictatorships to quell popular revolutions for national liberation. It is the chickens coming home to roost, as our great martyr Malcolm X used to say. From rounding up and forcibly disappearing people into concentration camps by ICE to occupying our barrios here in Southern California with imperial troops, to the brutal police repression with chemical warfare used against unarmed civilians, to the extrajudicial killings and physical torture of Black and brown lives perpetrated by the slave-catching police are re-traumatizing migrants who fled from colonial violence and US-led imperial wars and coups waged for natural resources. In the belly of the beast, new cases of the FBI raiding the homes of activists have been occurring under Trump. One instance from San Jose, California, is anti-war activist Alex Dillard and another in Los Angeles named Alejandro Orellana from Central CSO. These individual cases can be read on the website stopfbi.net. And when it comes to the national liberation struggle for Palestine internationally, the British government recently banned Palestine action by using draconian terrorism legislation as they imprisoned hundreds of activists and supporters of the nonviolent organization. Germany has also been taking steps to suppress anti-colonial protests by practically labeling any form of Palestinian solidarity as anti-Semitism. And let's be clear, anti-Zionism is anti-colonialism, not anti-Semitism. The Uhuru Solidarity Movement understands this as they state that Jews are against colonialism and chant no more genocide in our name. When colonialism is law, resistance becomes duty. Hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, hands off Latin America and the Caribbean, hands off the Middle East, hands off Asia and the Pacific Islands, and long live international solidarity.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrade. Uhuru. Oh, were you going to say something, Chair Jess? Oh, okay. Yes. I just want to really salute and appreciate that presentation of, well, all of those salutes and, just the show of support for those who are on the call, those who are not, those who are watching, just really profound. And we want to, be able to chop some of these up and put them back out there because it really just is, I just don't think we can really express, at least from myself in words, how powerful and meaningful this struggle has been, and to be, literally on the ground with you, comrades, in this period. This is a really, when we look back in history, we can say that, we did that and that we were a part of this. And so I just think it's a great honor. So thank you, everybody, for your great supports. Thank you, Redbeard. We know we will see you soon, comrade, as well. So we're going to continue on in this really profound webinar, and I think we probably have an update on our amount raised, but we're coming up close to our appeal, so we might save some of that actually for the appeal as well. So Chairwoman Penny, are you saying I'm thinking we should move to maybe the next
videos.
Okay, so you do want to.
I'm thinking of the videos because that's about 15 minutes and they're just really powerful.
Okay.
From people who couldn't be here today.
Right on. Okay, so comrades, we're gonna so sit back if you need to get some water and stretch and come back, but just stay with us because you're gonna hear from those who weren't able to be with us live and who sent in videos at our request to salute the Uhuru 3. So we're gonna roll those clips, and just a reminder to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate to contribute. Uhuru.
So let's get organized by Crystal Harding, the director of the Ypsilanti Youth Choir. Brother, brother, there's no time to fight. Sister, sister, together we can make it right. People, people, we all can share the prize. So we got to get it together, hold that line, let's get organized. I know, we can make them see. I know, good things come from unity. I know, someday they'll hit our cries. So we got to get it together, hold that line, let's get organized. People, people, there's no time to fight. People, people, together we can make it right. People, people, we all can share the prize. So we got to get it together, hold that line, let's get organized. I know it won't be easy. I know it'll take some time. There's a mountain in our pathway, but it's a mountain that we can climb. We'll all be better off in the end, and you'll be glad you're in it, friend. So get it together, hold that line, let's get organized. Get it together, hold that line, let's get organized. 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 Get it together, hold that line. Let's get organized.
All right, greetings, family. This is Mom Pam, also known as Pam Africa. I'm calling in order to voice my support in this third year anniversary of the magnificent trial of the Uhuru 3. And just to say, I think that everyone who is dealing with the issue of reparations should actually see this trial, pay attention to what went on there, to see exactly how far the government will go, and a magnificent win that happened for all Black folks. Not just the Uhuru 3, this is a win for us all, because anytime you have the entire, and let me say this, I was fortunate enough to have been able to be down there just about every day, and I want to thank Brother Yasatelli, I want to thank Brother James McIntosh, and I want to thank Brother Charles Barron, for making sure that I would be able to be down there, and to attend one of the most magnificent trials in our history. Anytime you had the entire government go to the extent that they did to try to frame Chairman Yasatelli, for colliding with the Russians. I mean, this is how deep this is, that they would go and say that he was, dealing with another government to overthrow this, this United States government. And it was the information that they put on about who and, Brother Yasser Kelly is and what he was doing, because they tried to frame him on the way that he lived and the things that he did, which the jury, I'm telling you, he had if people know on the call that it was a unanimous decision, that he was not guilty of it, and I think that, again, that everyone that's dealing with reparations, Black liberation, should take a look at this trial and see exactly what went on. It was consistently strong every day, and it was brilliant, and the way the lawyers, the community, and the whole family, dealt with this. I was very strategic, and I just want to say, I am so glad and so thankful that I witnessed in our time this complete victory. I just want to say, Uhuru, 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 and thank you. I appreciate everything that I lived to witness, and I've been spreading this word far and wide about the victory, the Black victory that happened in Florida on behalf of Black people.
Hi everyone, Jesus Rodriguez Espinosa here, founder and editor of Orinoco Tribune, an anti-imperialist and Chavista news outlet based in Venezuela. From the very beginning of the FBI's intimidation campaigns against the Uhuru movement, we knew it would fail. Uhuru is a real movement, not some paper-thin project existing only online. That's why we were not surprised by the court ruling dropping most of the charges. We strongly support the ongoing appeal and the campaign to repeal the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. Chavismo in Venezuela has endured decades of demonization. The reasons we still stand strong against U.S. imperialist aggression is simple. We are real. We are rooted in the hearts and souls of countless people in Venezuela and beyond. People who dream of a better world on true justice and peace. In Venezuela, we build that future every day, despite adversities manufactured abroad. For years, Chairman Omali Yeshitela has been a steadfast friend and defender of Chavismo, Commander Hugo Chavez, and our cause. Standing with him and the Uhuru movement against state oppression is the least we can do. In these tumultuous times, we, the oppressed, Black, Latino, Indigenous, and all people of color must unite against racism, colonialism, Zionism, imperialism, and in summary, against the capitalist system that crushes human happiness and progress. We are all victims of this oppressive machine. Black communities in the U.S. and migrant Latino communities suffer under capitalism boot. Our only alternative is to fight together, defeat this system, and forge a truly humane world. Please, comrades, support the Uhuru movement, and also support the Bolivarian Revolution in Venezuela. Despite all odds, we will prevail. Uhuru.
Uhuru. I'm Josh Shirley, currently the National Vice President of Veterans for Peace, coming to you from stolen Yokuts land, known as Fresno, California. I'm proud to speak on behalf of so many of our members, veterans from all eras and across this country and around the world. As veterans who've witnessed the cost of war firsthand, we know too well that the wars abroad are inexorably linked to the repression here at home. And we stand in unwavering solidarity with Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru Movement. The FBI raids of 3 years ago were a blatant attack on Black political resistance and an assault on free speech, not just for the Uhuru Three, but for all of us. Donald Trump might be the current and most obvious symbol of this fascist moment, but make no mistake, this system of colonial violence and imperial control, as Chairman Yeshitela reminds us, runs far deeper than any one administration. Hear me when I say, hands off the Uhuru Three, drop all charges, defend free speech and the right to resist. Colonialism must go. Abolish ICE, free Palestine, victory to African and oppressed peoples everywhere. Uhuru.
Sio Hokahe. My name is Ward Churchill. That's my colonial name, the name I'm mostly known by, so no objection whatsoever to being introduced that way. But I'm Kituwa Band Cherokee and carry the name Kanice, another Kanizinabi, that were bestowed by my late wife's Lynx clan Ojibways. So carrying those names, which have to do with the nature of my activism, if you will, my scholarship, my everything, really since I came back from Vietnam in 1969, was a member of the Revolutionary Youth Movement and the original Rainbow Coalition. During that period of the early years of my participation in the liberation struggle, beginning even before I joined the American Indian Movement in 1972, I was aware of Omali Yeshitela. I was familiar with his politics, general stance while he's still in the South. I did not meet him until the 1980s and worked really ever since, off and on, when the occasion arose with the African People's Socialist Party, Omali in particular, and with what's now the Uhuru Movement, has been for a while. Let me say that seldom in my experience over a half century and more of activism, and I've been an activist the entire time. I was on the Leadership Council of Colorado AIM. I participated in the Yellow Thunder Camp takeover and worked on freeing Leonard Peltier ever since the early 1980s. During that entire period, I've never met anyone that was more consistent in their political approach, their analysis, and so on, than Omali Yeshitela. And for that matter, since the late 80s, when I first met her, the same would go for Penny Hess, that these are people who are now elders, but with Omali in particular, you know, active elders, not just old people with wisdom perhaps to share, but people who work in and on the ground, in and with the communities to meet the needs of people. And that is invaluable in terms of an example intergenerationally. The third defendant in this so-called unregistered foreign agents trial was the next generation of anti-imperialist struggle, the next generation of articulating an agenda in the community, okay, that is based upon an understanding of what Omali refers to, and I think quite aptly, quite eloquently, as the colonial mode of production, not the capitalist mode of production. It's colonial. Capitalism arose from colonial struggle, from colonial invasion, from colonial exploitation, and we need to wrap our minds around that. The way we do that is by observing and witnessing and interacting with people who have that understanding already and have had it for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. It really doesn't matter the time. What matters is the consistency. And this consistency that is the hallmark of O'Malley in the party and the movement that works around him, works through him internationally as well as nationally. That is something that really cannot be done without, and that is why they've been targeted. And now convicted of conspiring to do what it was that they were acquitted on the main charges of actually doing. Absurd, absurd. If we don't struggle around this, if we don't win the reversal, the vacancy, overturning, however you want to put it, of that aspect of this, we all suffer. So, as it was put in my early days in the movement, and is still valid today, dare to struggle, dare to win, Uhuru.
Greetings, I'm Natsu Saito, an attorney in Atlanta, Georgia, on the traditional lands of the Muskogee Creek Nation. I'm sorry I can't join you in person today, but wanted to express my solidarity with and appreciation for the work of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru Three. For at least half a century, with remarkable consistency, the Uhuru Movement has advocated for the right of African peoples to self-determination and acknowledged and supported the struggles of indigenous peoples around the world. This is why they've been targeted. It's one of the colonizers' oldest tricks to label those who empower communities and peoples at the grassroots level as outside agitators, Russian agents in this case, but we aren't fools. I hope you'll join me in supporting this appeal. It's in our interest, the interest of all freedom-loving people, to ensure that their bogus convictions for conspiring to engage in a thought crime are overturned. Uhuru.
Uhuru, excellent, excellent. Comrade SG, you want to sum that up?
Yeah, I just want to say that that was very powerful. And one thing that was really clear throughout all these videos, and especially as we got towards the end, just the reinforcing of the importance of understanding what is the thing that we are really trying to overturn. If we want to see all the types of oppressions in this world be eradicated, it's the eradication of colonialism. And so I just really want to appreciate those statements. And yeah, I just
And we also want to appreciate your donations.
Yes, exactly. We want to appreciate the donations. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Because we have some come in. So go ahead.
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
we had Comrade Indigo who contributed $25. Comrade Janet, Big Uhuru, contributed $50. Comrade Jan contributed $120. We had MQ who donated $30.
Uhuru MQ.
And Comrade Dana who contributed $50. So our remaining balance is $9,200 so far. We have raised $5,800. So I just want to salute everybody and remind everybody to continue to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Let's go ahead and, kick the ass of the ruling class. Uhuru.
Yes, comrades. And here we are, getting to the part of the program where we get a chance to hear from the leader of the African nation, the person, and I know for me, at least the reason why I am here, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and, just have the honor to, lead this fight back under his leadership. So we're going to show a video, and this is actually, like we said, when the FBI raided us on July 29, 2022, the chairman didn't skip a beat. And not only did we launch this campaign, not only were we, live, on television, setting the record straight, but also, in the wee hours in the evening at 9 p.m., the chairman put out the first official statement from our movement to explain to the world what exactly happened. And this video is going to, take us back 3 years ago, what the chairman had to say about these raids. Uhuru.
It was not Russians who killed Mike Brown. It was not Russians who killed Tamir Rice. It was not Russians who have been doing all of these offenses against us. The U.S. government did that. And so they want to make us instruments of the Russians because we complain about it. But black people have been complaining about our treatment forever, and you can go back for 50 years and you will not find a single change in the politic and the position of the African People's Socialist Party regarding our relationship to the United States. You will not find that from 50 years ago. Now suddenly we are supposed to become tools of Russia, like black people don't have minds of our own to be able to define what our reality is and who's responsible for it. They killed Malcolm. They got rid of Garvey. They put him in prison. They killed Lumumba. They killed Nkrumah. They killed Martin Luther King and what have you. And then in this desert that they create of leadership, they make an assumption that they can tell black people anything and that we don't have the ability to respond, but we do. And that's something that everybody should be clear of, and you should be clear of. Because the African People's Socialist Party has been working for 50 years. We've created institutions, organizations, committees that span the globe and inside the United States. We've taken on every contradiction that we are afflicted with as a people. Ideological, what is the philosophy? What do you believe in? We've created a philosophy that speaks to what happens to African people and to the peoples of the world. And that's something that has been providing leadership not only for black people in this country, but other oppressed peoples around the world. That's the problem that they have as well with the African People's Socialist Party. We created the African National Women's Organization. We created the doulas that's going to be dealing with this country. We created the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement to fight against the assault on so-called democracy of black people here. We are the ones who are connected with them, created the African Socialist International. So the struggle of African people is not something they've been able to confine to black people in the United States, but we've connected it around the world so that black people recognize in Haiti, who they are killing even as we have this discussion. Black people recognize the relation, black people in Jamaica, black people throughout the Caribbean, throughout Africa and various other places around the world, including Europe and the United States. That's who we provide leadership for. That's what the United States government is fighting against. That's what they fear, even in the face of everybody being able to see an obvious decline of white power, and the United States government is the chief hegemon of white power in the world. That's what we are contending with, and I wanted you to know that and to have some access to a different narrative than what is being imposed on people by the United States government and by the U.S.-led media, who gets his news and information from handouts from U.S. government institutions, the FBI, the so-called Justice Department, and what have you. There is a story, and you should know it. And if the U.S. government said it, most black people are suspicious anyway. The United States government has been unsuccessful in convincing a single African country that participates in the United Nations with unity with the United States against Russia. And I'm reminded of the statement made a long time ago about Muhammad Ali when he said, "Ain't no Vietnamese ever called me nigger." When the United States was murdering people in Vietnam and had African people fighting to murder people in Vietnam and to be killed in Vietnam for the United States. And the truth of the fact is that somebody said today earlier, you can't find an African in this country or most of the world with a Russian last name. We got the last names of slave masters and colonizers everywhere you see us. The Russians did not enslave us. Ain't no Russian killed Mike Brown. Ain't no Russian killed Lumumba. Ain't no Russian overthrew Nkrumah. Ain't no Russian then responsible for what we face every day in our lives, for the gentrification that we are faced with. And they're going to say the Russians somehow had to tell us that we were being oppressed, that some white guy or some Russian guy is the one who is the mastermind. That's a statement about they telling the world that black people don't have enough sense to be able to lead our own struggle, but that's not true, because black people, African people, for the first time in history, have our own revolutionary working class party that has created a philosophy that functions as the advanced attachment, as the vanguard for the struggle to free our people. And we're going to free our people, and we are not going to retreat because of what the FBI has done, is doing, and because of the threat that they are posing against us. We're not retreating, we're building. And that's what everybody should understand, that this is the African People's Socialist Party that you're dealing with, not somebody that trembles at every move that the U.S. government makes. And most of the people around the world have come to that conclusion too. Nobody's trembling anymore, Uncle Sam. And the fact is, you say we're getting money from Russia. The truth is, Russia doesn't owe us reparations. You owe us reparations, Uncle Sam. and white people in this country owe us reparations. And I want to say further than that, because part of what they're trying to do is to isolate the Black liberation movement, isolate the African People's Socialist Party, isolate the Uhuru Movement. And the fact is that all of these economic institutions that I'm talking about that exist under our leadership today, most of them were funded in part by reparations voluntarily given to us by white people. And this is the problem for the United States government, where white people will voluntarily unite, do a self-criticism, and engage for the first time in their history in genuine class struggle by uniting with the struggle against colonialism. That's where the money is coming from, Uncle Sam. And you want to frighten white people so they don't pay this reparation. You want to slander us so that white people won't pay this reparation, because that's our money that they're giving us, not their money. And the fact is that our money is now being able to be used to create doula programs for African women, create a basketball court for young African people in our communities. That's who we are. And we ain't backing down this because you come with flashbang grenades and whatever, and we know that you have guns, and we know what you're capable of doing in terms of murdering and killing and jailing people. We know that already, and so that can no longer be something that's used against us. It's happened too many times before, and we're ready for that. We're gonna win, we're gonna struggle. In fact, we are winning, and that's why the United States government is moving against us in the fashion that it's doing.
Uhuru, that's a mic drop right there, comrades. And that was, Chairman Omali Yeshitela just summing it up, because, we were sitting on a, and part of it is to understand that, of course, we were not ready. You can never be ready for an attack at 5 a.m. with flashbang grenades and assault rifles. But because we sit on a foundation of African internationalism, on this foundation of, anti-colonial struggle, we understood that these attacks, would come, and it was just a matter of when. But it was not a question of how to sum it up. And the chairman, brilliantly just, laid out the way forward so early on in the campaign. And that was the grounding that we, sat upon and, fought on throughout these past 3 years. So I just really want to salute the chairman for his, brilliant leadership throughout this struggle. And there's so much more and so many more victories to win. So Uhuru Chairman and comrades, this is the part of the program where we get to, raise the rest of the money, that we need to make this appeal as successful as it will be. And I want to bring up my comrade, and I really want to salute this comrade Amanda, who is Uhuru comrade, who is the treasurer for Hands Off Uhuru, and who has really just done a tremendous job, comrades, in helping us to keep this above board and make sure that we are, making the best use of all the resources that are coming in from the people, because we cannot say it without, enough how much every penny matters in this fight back. So Uhuru comrade Amanda, I want to salute you, and I'm looking forward to giving the appeal.
Uhuru, thank you, Chair Moisey. Just want to really appreciate everything that we've heard so far today. I think the statements and the salutes from all of the comrades, including the calls from them to contribute, were better than anything that I could have possibly said. So I'll do my best, but I just want to really appreciate what has been said so far, and just, really appreciate all of you. And thank you, Chair Moisey, for joining me for this part of the program. And I'm going to call on our tech people to pull up our slideshow. And we will just run through this together.
All right. What a great shot here. So comrades, again, we just want to salute from everyone that we've heard from today, and everybody that has joined us, that is on the call, who has donated to the legal expenses, again, who has wrote letters, who have attended the trial, and who have done so much more. And the Uhuru 3, like we said, are out on probation and community service only because of your support. But as we remind you, it is not over, and we are moving forward with appealing this bogus conviction, which will set legal precedent that will have lasting impact on all of us who are fighting for anti-colonial free speech.
Uhuru, and we want to really salute the Uhuru 3. Slide number 2, we have the chairman, Omali Yeshitela, Chairwoman Penny Hess, and Chair Jesse Neville. The chairman has been fighting his entire life for African liberation, and what we've heard from many people today is that he was completely fearless in this attack and really led the charge against the U.S. government, rallied everyone together, won all of your support, and just want to really appreciate him. I want to appreciate Chairwoman Penny of the African People's Solidarity Committee, working under the leadership of the chairman for almost 50 years, fighting for reparations, fighting for justice, and played a really pivotal role in this fight back as the vice chair of this campaign. So that's a huge responsibility working with Chair Moisey here. And I also want to appreciate Chair Jesse, who's been part of the Uhuru Movement for about 15 years, fiercely fighting under the chairman and Chairwoman Penny's leadership, winning the masses of white people to support reparations, and was over the fundraising work of this campaign for the first 2 phases. So just want to really salute them. These are fearless comrades. I want to be just like them when I grow up, and I just really appreciate all of the work that they have done in this campaign and inspiring us to fight against the U.S. government and this force. Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrade. Yeah, I just want to salute, to join you in that salute. And also, I want to salute my leadership, Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, again, who brought so much science to this process of bringing in all the resources. And as we said, we're in phase 3, and we could not have gotten here without the leadership of Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, who leads the economic work of the Uhuru Movement.
Uhuru. And phase 3 started around mid-December. This was about when the sentencing was. And since that point, all of you have contributed $47,500. So I want to really appreciate that. Thanks to you, we are able to pay the retainer agreements for our legal team to have them all on the team again for this appeal process. So I just really want to salute that. We could not have done that without your support. You spreading the word, you making contributions. So this is a huge victory. So I want everyone to just know that is in the works, that they will be paid by the end of this month. And that's thanks to all of you. So that we cannot understate how important that is. Overstate. We can't overstate how important that is. Uhuru.
Uhuru, definitely. Yeah, I want to just salute everybody for that. And because there's just not enough time, but we wanted to do our best to show and thank all of our donors. Over 200 of you made this victory in phase 3 possible. So again, we're just going to slide through some of the names that you see here. This is alphabetical, so A through D. Want to salute everybody who has donated, from Adam to Deborah. Go on to the next slide. Uhuru.
And then we have from, let's see, this goes from D to J. So like Chair Moisey is saying, we don't have time to read everyone's names, but your contribution in these past 6 or so months made an impact, whether you gave $10 or $5,000. And if your name is not on this list, perhaps it's because you personally couldn't donate, but you won your friends and family to donate. So we may not know that, but know that we appreciate you and we see you in the work that you've been doing. Uhuru, next slide here.
Uhuru, yes, that's a great statement, comrade. And among this list are also our amazing sustaining donors. So you can make the commitment every month to help keep this campaign going. I'm a sustainer. I'm a monthly sustainer at, I believe, the $5 or $10 level. And because this, comrades, this is not just a victory for the Uhuru 3, but this is a victory for all of us. So also consider becoming a sustaining donor.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Next slide here. This is going to be M through S. So again, today, go to handsoffahuru.org/donate. Join this list. Continue giving to this fight back. We can go to the next slide here.
Uhuru. And a shout out to our remaining donors here, but also all of the anonymous donors. Again, we could not do this without you. Some of you made some very, uplifting contributions in the dark hours, and all of that, none of that goes unnoticed. So we salute all of the anonymous donors as well.
Uhuru. And next slide here, we have some major donors just from this phase 3 of the campaign. And of course, there's more from phase 1 and phase 2, but just again, in these last six months, just want to really appreciate Mark, Janice, Phyllis, Leah, and Janet, all of whom have given over $1,000 towards this campaign, and really want to salute Mark, who we heard from today, who gave $5,000 just in this last period.
Uhuru, Mark. Uhuru, comrades. And again, we just want, on behalf of the fundraising committee, we also want to express our deep sadness and our loss for our dear comrade Sayero. As was mentioned, he was, a key member of this team and, who did everything that he could win, that everything that he could to win the support for the Uhuru 3 for this campaign. And many of us can say that, that we donated after a call hearing from, Comrade Sayero. So you may have gotten a phone call for him. He helped with the phone banking, and we just missed his voice. We'll miss the comrade, and he will be greatly missed. So long live Comrade Sayero.
Uhuru, yes. And I just want to say about Sayero, he was so successful in winning donations when he made those calls. And it's because of how much he believed in this work, how much he believed in the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, the Uhuru 3. And, he was just so inspiring to work with. So I just want to, completely agree. He will be greatly missed, and just really, really appreciate this comrade, Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. And, what we heard today is that the appeal brief has been filed. So this part of the fight back is really about setting this legal precedent for all of us. This is not just a fight to keep the Uhuru 3 out of prison, but the US government, wielded these laws to target and attack our revolutionary leaders for their anti-colonial free speech activities. And this is the fight that we are continuing to wage so that all of us can continue doing this work without fear of government repression. So this appeal brief, this, overturning of the conspiracy conviction is for all of us. So that's what you are contributing to when you donate today.
Uhuru. So comrades, we encourage you right now to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. This is our fight back. And this is a photo of, a sketch of the courtroom of the Uhuru supporters who packed the courtroom by one of the volunteers of the media army, Hallie Murray. So we want to thank that comrade and thank everybody who has donated and who has gone to handsoffuhuru.org/donate.
And we also really, really want to appreciate our pro bono legal team, which is Leonard Goodman and Angela Rainey. This is a huge contribution. This, is worth over $100,000 of resources that we collectively did not need to raise. It was, contributed by these comrades. So I just want to really appreciate them. And they are a fierce component of the legal team. I mean, I can't say enough about the two of them. And we heard from Angela today, and Leonard is just a powerful force, two amazing writers, an amazing researcher, and, an amazing addition to the team. We would not have been able to do it without these two comrades. So, Uhuru.
Uhuru.
And one last thing to add is that since the beginning of this campaign, from the very morning of July 29th to now, we have raised over $648,000. And that includes people who have contributed to repairing the damage to the buildings that was done by the FBI on the morning of the raids, replacing the property that they stole. And as I said, the value of the pro bono contribution from Leonard Goodman with Angela Rainey. And this is from thousands of you. So again, whether you're able to give $10 or $10,000, it adds up and it makes a profound difference. So that is just an amazing thing to be able to say that from the last 3 years, this is how much money we have raised just for this campaign.
Uhuru. Thank you, comrade. Yeah, that is tremendous. That's a tremendous amount, and that's, only powered by the power of the people. And now we are in phase 3 of this fundraising campaign, and phase 3's total was 72,500. And today, as we said, we only need now 25,000 to cover the expenses that we have projected for the appeal. And this is just, again, 25 people giving $1,000 or 100 people giving $250. And I just want to thank some more, donations that are coming in, and remind people to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. This helps with the oral argument fees, the travel expenses, and the literature production and communications as well. Uhuru.
Uhuru. So today's goal is $15,000 of that. And I just want to say we have already raised 6,150. So I'm going to read these names again because these contributions today are so significant. So we have MQ did 15, Esther did 40, Lisa did 25, Jonathan did 25, Barbara did 25, Ann did 50, Michael did 100, Zoe did 50, Becky did 50. We have an anonymous donor doing 100, Hallie did 400, Leah did 500. Betty did 250. Betty Davis. John McCarthy gave 30. Maureen gave 500. Johan gave 50. Allie gave $1,000. Uhuru Allie. Jill Stein gave 50. Youssef gave 100. Afia Rwangaza gave 100. And Yindu gave 40. Jesse Todd, we heard from him, a powerful call for contributions, gave 100. Marcia Coleman Aldebayo gave 200. Janice gave 250. Stephanie gave 50. Comrade Penny Hess gave 100. Redbeard, who we heard from, gave 250. We heard from comrades from the African Socialist International, who gave $500. Uhuru. Kitty gave 25. We have Johan's father, John, who gave 50. We heard from Mark, who gave 500. Indigo gave 25. Janet gave 50. Jan gave 120. Deha gave 50. MQ gave 30. That's a second donation from MQ, which is, typical, Uhuru MQ. Vera gave 25, and that's monthly, Uhuru Vera. Kara gave 50. Ella gave 25, and then Ruby gave 250. So that brings our total to 6,150. The remaining is only 8,850. And I just want to say, I was really inspired by Allie, who gave $1,000, and then also by the advice of Comrade Betty Davis, who said, find someone who loves you and get them to contribute to the struggle. So I was texting my husband, Jesse, and we agreed that we are going to give $1,000 today. Uhuru. Uhuru.
Right on. Yes, thank you, comrade. That's exciting. What's our total? Or actually, well, you're going to tell people how they can give, right, comrade?
Yes. So
okay,
again, you can go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate, as many of you already have. There are options to give directly from your bank account, your debit or credit card. If you have a donor advised fund, Hands Off Uhuru is a fiscally sponsored 501c3 nonprofit. So if you have funds that have to go to a nonprofit, we are an option. You can give stocks, crypto, and I think there's a few other options, Venmo. And of course, you can always mail a check. You can make that out to Hands Off Uhuru, and you can send those checks to 2654 Gravois Avenue in St. Louis, Missouri, 63118. Uhuru.
Uhuru. And we have just some give backs. So donors who give at the $5,000 or more level will receive a printed signed copy of the appeal brief. This will be signed by the Uhuru 3. And this is a historic document, as we said. So we want to let anybody know, if you want to give $5,000 towards this campaign, you will get a signed copy of the appeal brief. And we want to thank everybody who have continued to donate. I want to thank that long list that Comrade Amanda just read out of all the who have donated, and just remind you again, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. And we have some more give backs for you. So I'll turn it back to you, Amanda.
Uhuru. And if you give $1,000 or more, you will receive this photo from the court steps signed by the Uhuru 3. And again, so far, Allie gave 1,000, Jesse and myself are giving 1,000. And I want to challenge at least 2 more people in this audience today to give 1,000. You don't have to give it all today. You can give it in installments over the next few months. But I want to really call on people to take that call and contribute that amount today. And you can leave that in the comments, or you can go ahead and submit that at handsoffuhuru.org/donate.
Uhuru. And just a reminder again, another way to give, if you don't give online, is to make a check payable to Hands Off Uhuru. And you can send your checks to Hands Off Uhuru at 2654 Gravois Avenue in St. Louis, Missouri, 63118.
Uhuru. And just want to say, it looks like we have another contribution from Deha for 50. And then with the contribution from myself and Jesse, we are now at $7,200 raised, with only $7,800 remaining. So we're almost halfway there. And I know we have some very exciting announcements coming up. So let's see what happens next. Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right, comrades. Well, this is a chance where we get to hear from some representatives of the Uhuru Movement who are going to be joining us on this segment of the appeal. And they want to make a contribution today, and they also want to say why they're contributing to today's goal. So I'm going to invite up some of our comrades, our dear, dear, dear comrades. And we're really honored to actually be called to be joined by the first comrade here, who was had it not been that they were indicted, this would be the Uhuru 4. I want to invite up Comrade Sister Director Akile Anayi, who is the Director of Media and Communications for the African People's Socialist Party. And I'm just scrolling through. Okay, I think you jumped up to the top now. There she is. Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Comrades, Uhuru, SG Chair Mwezi, and salute to the Hands Off Uhuru campaign and this incredible event. And recognizing, I think Comrade Caleb said 3 years since the attacks on the Uhuru Movement. And I work as the Director of Communications and Media for the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru Movement. And we are committing $500 to the Hands Off Uhuru campaign because, well, we have to win. And we achieved this incredible victory, and we have to deliver another blow to imperialism, to to colonialism. And we know that this is what this campaign is doing. And it is not just ensuring the the freedom and getting the charges dropped from our leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella and the Uhuru 3, but it's ensuring that these types of attacks cannot happen, and they certainly will not happen without a fight. And I think that is one of the greatest lessons. Like as this the theme of this discussion is, when we fight, we win. And so, like I said, we have no choice but to win this fight, and that's why we're making our $500 contribution today. And also want to salute the leadership of Chairman Amalia Shatella. This fight back was not only inspiring, but his stance of more than 60 years in the struggle to free African people, but all of humanity, really, when we look at this question of the struggle for the liberation of Africa and African people, what that's tied to, all that that's tied to, and that he, made that commitment, continues to make that commitment, and never buckled, never folded in all of that time, including in one of its most vicious assaults, which was the July 29th raids. So I'm just going to quickly share my favorite quote from Chairman Amalia Shatella. This actually comes from his book, An Uneasy Equilibrium, and I highly recommend you guys get a copy, the Burning Spear store. You can get your copy if you don't have already. And it's kind of long, but I'll try to read it quickly. It says, "For us, the rise of capitalism in the world is not based on some purely abstract Marxist theory about the development of human society. It is not a theoretical question. Primitive accumulation is not a theory. The rape of Africa, the enslavement of our continent and our people, the forcible dispersal of Africans throughout the world as a means of rescuing Europe from disease and poverty, the process that gave rise to capitalism is a matter of historical record. Marx, the spectator, did not have to understand this. The person sitting on the hot stove, the living, breathing, thinking, primitive accumulation would either understand this question or perish. We chose to understand." So, Uhuru.
Uhuru. That's powerful. Uhuru. Thank you, Director Akile, for that quote, for that statement, and that donation. That was a $500 contribution. Thank you so much. Uhuru. All right, comrades. So I think we have up next our comrade president, Yejide Oranmila, who is the president of the African National Women's Organization. So Uhuru, comrade. Oh, there you go.
I have my blinders on, so the state won't be able to look at me when I'm not. But I don't want them to.
Well, they see you now.
Uhuru, comrade, thank you so much for inviting us to publicly state our pledge to the Uhuru 3 and this appeals process, the fight back against the United States government. And I just I'm representing the African National Women's Organization. And, we are so happy to be pledging our $500 to support this cause and this effort. It's hard to say it like that because, the party is the thing that created the African National Women's Organization, right? Like, it's our responsibility to organize and recruit African women into revolutionary political life. And without the party, without the forethought in thinking about the conditions of African women, and putting it within this revolutionary perspective, then there would be no anti-colonial African women's organization. We always say, that we are the only, and I mean that, like we are the only African anti-colonial revolutionary membership organization for African women. And that's real. And it's the only reality is tied to the revolutionary trajectory of the party. And, our comrades in the Uhuru Three have been fighting relentlessly against US imperialism, US colonial project that has trapped African people as domestically colonized within the borders of the United States. And it's a victory when we've seen all of the people who have donated, who have contributed, have come down, took their own resources to fly down to Florida and support our comrades during the trial. And the ongoing support that really makes this a renewed fight, I think, that will ensure our eventual freedom, ensure our eventual win in the appeals process. So once again, just want to appreciate, the comrades, Chairman Omali Shatella, Jesse Neville, Penny Hess. These comrades are relentless and continue to fight in so many different ways, even when people don't see. So I think that's important. And I also wanted to share a quote from the chairman. It may not be as prolific as the one that Kile just shared, but my favorite quote from the chairman is, "You don't get on a boat in Africa and then you don't get kidnapped and get on a boat in Africa as an African and then come and get dropped off, deposited by the colonizer in the so-called United States as something else. You're always going to be an African no matter where you are." So that just really reinforces the dispersed African nation. And I think that really holds the glue, particularly because, I come from a, ethnically diverse background, right? Like people from everywhere, Caribbean, United Kingdom, United States, like Africa. And so all these African people represent the broad spectrum of African nation. And it's really important for me to make sure that this is always at the forefront when we're talking about the conditions of African people and the African nation as a whole. So I appreciate the party for making that simple and clear for us to understand who we are as African people, and also for just a relentless example of fighting against the United States government in the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Uhuru comments.
Uhuru, President yesterday. And can you remind me the donation amount that you said for annual?
500.
500. Uhuru, yes. Right on, comrade. Great quote. One of the most, common ones and ones that, kind of sets the groundwork for everything. So Uhuru. Well, I'm going to go next, and I'm going to speak on behalf of the office of the chairman. And I want to salute the comrades who are in the office of the chairman, and also say that the office of the chairman is also contributing $500 to the Hands Off Uhuru legal appeal. And again, it is a great honor to, work under the chairman's leadership. And this office has the responsibility of, making sure that we keep the work of the chairman out there in the world. And one of the quotes that is, one that is actually taken from An Uneasy Equilibrium. I want to read this quote here, quote by the chairman. It says here, "Sometimes our positions are unpopular in the short term, even among the masses, only to be vindicated as events unfold to reveal a truth that was obscured by the faulty analysis of the prevailing common perception. On such occasions, we must move in opposition to the direction the masses are attempting to go. Otherwise, what is the meaning of leadership?" And I really want to appreciate that quote by the chairman, because what it does is it just, calls on us to continue to stand in the forefront and to, be the vanguard, and to be to be courageous in this struggle. We've seen it, from the attacks on the Uhuru Three, from the chairman coming right out the gate with the attacks, with the U.S. aggression towards Russia, and the chairman speaking out, one of the first to put it out there in the world at that period, unrelentingly, and, in such a courageous way. And it just opened the doors for others to engage in anti-colonial free speech. So the chairman is one of the greatest examples of leadership of our time. And I just want to say, on behalf of the office of the chairman, we are proudly going to donate 500. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Really appreciate that, SG Moisey.
Uhuru.
And Can I read the one for the Office of Deputy Chair?
Yes, please.
They sent in a quote for us here from the chairman. I know that the Office of Deputy Chair is also contributing $500, so I just want to salute that. And the quote that we received is dual power, self-reliance, and self-determination. The party has tied its program for economic development and organizational self-reliance to the anti-colonial political objective of creating dual and contending state power, a power which would contend with the capitalist, colonialist state for authority over the lives of African people within current U.S. borders. When we talk about the struggle for self-reliance, for economic development, we are talking about the ability to produce and reproduce material life. We must begin to build our own power. We want to have the ability to control our communities. We want to make them impossible for the colonial state to administer. We have strategically established the aim of creating dual and contending state power. It is not just a power side by side with capitalism, it is in contention with capitalism. So Uhuru, to the Office of Deputy Chair, that is an excellent quote, very appropriate for your office. So I just want to really appreciate those comrades. Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades. Thank you, Deputy Chair. So I'm going to invite up the next comrades in this order. We're going to hear from comrades in ABDEP, also in PDM, APSC, the Northern Region, USM, and the Office of Secretary General and NDO's office. Uhuru.
Uhuru, and while we're waiting for them to come up, I just want to say with those contributions so far, we are at 9,150 and just 5,850 remaining. So if you have not yet, please go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Text your friends, text your family, tell them how important this is to you, and make your contributions now. Uhuru.
Uhuru. I see Comrade Fofeet there representing ABDEP. Uhuru. Fofeet.
Uhuru, comrades. I am glad to be here, and I say Uhuru to my leadership. ABDEP is donating $500. And I want to read this quote. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to read most of it, because this is what I tell people when they say, what happened with the trial? I said, we won. They said, what did they say? They said that we were fighting for other people. We've always fought for African people, and that's who we fight for. And that gives us strength for liberation for all African people. The quote is, we believe that the liberation of African people throughout the world will come primarily as a result of our own efforts. We believe it is our duty to our mothers and fathers, our children, and ourselves to organize ourselves to overcome our oppressors. And with that, the rest of it is great too, but I'm going to make that we fight for African people and we win. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Oh, thank you, Comrade Fofeet, with the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project. And I just want to, just for the sake of time, because I'm getting notes from our timekeeper, we want to encourage everybody all the other comrades that are coming up to come on up to put on your cameras and get ready to also give your statement and your amount. And I'm hearing we don't have time for all the quotes. So if you have a really short quote, say it. If not, you want to put in the chat. But I'm going to turn it over to who's next? President Matsamela with the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Uhuru.
Uhuru. I'm Matsamela Odin, International President of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Really want to salute the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the victory of the Uhuru 3 and the future victories with this fight to end FARA and other conspiracy laws. So the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement is excited to donate $500 to the fight. And just quickly, my quote is, we are African because we say we are. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Great quote. Uhuru. All right. I want to invite up, all right, who's next? Is that Comrades on the Ground in St. Louis?
Would it be, oh, could I go next? Is that okay?
Uhuru, yes.
All right, Uhuru, from the Office of Secretary General and in the NDO region, we want to contribute $500. In addition, our favorite quote, let me go to our favorite quote from Chairman. But the quote is that, you know, we revolutionaries are optimists, and we can actually envision a new world, and we see a new world, and all the pragmatists and all the empiricists are opposed to us because they find all the reasons why this new world can't happen. And it's we who are the optimists. It's we who will not allow our vision for the future to be determined by what is real today. And also wanted to state that the Southern region, we in the Southern region have Comrade Osahene, Comrade Chimurenga, myself, Comrade Stephen, Comrade Siaka, Comrade Chukwu, Comrade Hakeem, and Comrade Aaron, who've all contributed and want to contribute for $500 as well. Uhuru.
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 Fantastic.
Is that for the Southern region? I just want to make sure I have it right.
That's right, Uhuru.
All right, Uhuru.
Great. Next up, we'll hear from our comrades. Thank you, Comrade Jainaba, from APSC, then the Northern region, and then USM, or maybe APSC, USM can go together since y'all are right there. You're muted, Chairwoman Penny.
From the African People's Solidarity Committee, we are honored to be able to contribute $500 to this campaign. And I just wanted to say a brief quote from this great book, Quotations from Chairman Omali Yeshitela, on the white people and the question of solidarity. Very quickly, he said, "We believe that if white people would become a part of humanity and end their separation from the human family, they would have the ability to unite with the struggle of African people around the world. Everything they have," meaning white people, "have come from African people. They have the ability to end their self-imposed isolation and join the other people around the world. They can unite with African people in the struggle for independence." Uhuru.
Uhuru. If I can jump in really quick, really want to appreciate Chairwoman Penny and that statement and that quote. We received a very exciting text from our comrade Ruby, who heard the call to give $1,000. Ruby has already given 250 today plus 100 this morning, so she wants to give 650 to round her total out to 1,000. So Uhuru, Ruby.
Uhuru, comrade. Salute to Comrade Ruby. Uhuru. Is that you, Chair Jesse? You're up next.
Uhuru. Yes, I am very honored and excited to announce that the Uhuru Solidarity Movement will also be contributing $500 to the fund today. And this is a quote I'll read very quickly. This is a statement that the chairman made in one of these events in the past. He said, "Our defense, our struggle is in defense of all people in this country to be free from intrusion in their lives by the government. The rights of all the people are concentrated in the struggle of Black people to be free." Uhuru.
Yes. Right on. Uhuru. Thank you, comrades. And I believe we have one more, if I'm right. Yes, and that is Comrade Emmanuel, who leads the Northern region of the African People's Socialist Party. Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I like to salute to this webinar and the victory of the Uhuru 3, and you know, just the strategy and the organization and the ideological clarity that was put forward of this period. From the Northern region, we would like to donate $500 in support of the appeal. And our quote is one of my favorites, is that given organization and ideological clarity, our people can achieve anything. And we saw that in this recent period with the victory of the Uhuru 3. And we also unite with this call to overturn the FARA Act and what's been called for thus far, and our unity with the future work. Victory is on the horizon. We are winning.
Uhuru. That's a great quote. And, you know, way to end, but also to lay the groundwork, you know, for the future. As we say, victory is on the horizon. Thank you, comrades. Salute to the party and the organizations for those donations. I'll turn it back to you, Comrade Amanda. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yes, I just want to really appreciate everyone for their contributions so far. With everything that was just announced, plus Ruby's contribution, we have raised today in this meeting $12,800. So I want to give everyone a round of applause for that. There is still time. Our goal is $15,000, and that's just $2,200 to go. So again, somebody else can take up the call to make a $1,000 contribution. Again, it does not need to be done today. There's 5 months or so left in the year, so you can do $200 a month the next 5 months. You can get 3 of your friends together and you can each do $250. There's many ways to do it. So I just want to really, make the call for people to continue to donate. Do what Betty Davis says, reach out to people in your life. Or, just dig deep and really, think of what you can contribute, because again, this fight back is not just to, overturn a conspiracy conviction for the Uhuru 3. This is to set a precedent for all of us. So it's a very, very significant fight back. And I know you all know that and want to be involved in raising these funds. So if you are able to contribute today, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate.
Uhuru. Uhuru, comrade. All right, comrades. Well, that is exciting. Can you repeat the total raise one more time, Comrade Amanda? Was it?
Yes, $12,800.
$12,800. So for those of you listening out there in the ether, Uhuru.
We're just applauding.
Okay. Such suspense at the great timing, comrade. Uhuru. When you come back to this recording, those of you who are, checking this out for the first time, do consider becoming a new donor of the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition. And I believe there was one last slide on that appeal, but it just showed 2 of our amazing volunteers who are a part of the fundraising committee and who you'll be hearing from as a thank you for your donation. So I don't know if you wanted to say anything else, comrade. Yeah.
Well, I do want to say things about these 2 amazing comrades, and there's more people involved in the fundraising work, like Maureen, Jesse, yourself, Chairwoman Penny. But yeah, these 2 comrades are just so amazing. And you definitely will get an email from Anne thanking you for your donation. And I want you to know, Anne writes those emails. She does not copy and paste them. She thinks about who she's talking to, and she's actually talking to you. So, feel free to send her a message back. She loves it. But yeah, we really appreciate Anne. And Kelly has just been a really excellent person on the team with great ideas, experience raising money, and just really brings a lot to this work. And I just want to announce, we also got a very exciting contribution from Chairman and Deputy Chair, Omali known as Naya Shatella, of $500.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. And then also in the chat here, it looks like Emmanuel says, additional 100 from me, Uhuru. So that's amazing. That's another $600. I'm letting my little thing load here. It looks like we only have 1,600 left to go, and we have now raised $13,400.
Okay, well, Comrade Amanda, I'm gonna make a pledge, and I'm gonna match Comrade Emmanuel's donation of $100. So you can put me down as well. Uhuru.
Uhuru. If 15 more people do that, we will reach our goal.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. We don't have 15 more minutes left in this webinar, but maybe the next 15 moments we can see what comes from that. So thank you, Comrade Amanda. Just want to salute you, and great appeal, very winning, and we are winning. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades. Well, this takes us towards to the end of our program. We're going to do a quick announcements and get us out of here. And I just really want to salute everybody who's still on with us. I know we went over time, so we do want to wrap up expeditiously. But, and we have another $25 donation from Comrade Lisa Davis. And Comrade Amanda, if you want to come on one more time before we wrap up to let us know the total, you can interrupt me at any point. And another pledge from Comrade MQ, Uhuru. Uhuru, comrades. So if you want to match those, comrades, go ahead and put that in the chat. This is here on Zoom. And we'll get some announcements if things are coming in from Facebook and on YouTube as well. But for now, I'm going to go to our announcements. And I just want to say we have some quick announcements, and some of these will be posted on the calendar later, but we want to encourage everybody to go to handsoffuhuru.org/events. This is the community calendar of events for the for Hands Off Uhuru. You can follow what's happening next with the Uhuru movement overall by going there. Sorry, that's on the next slide. And then we also want to invite you to stay connected, to follow us on social media, share your events, invite us to come and speak at, one of your committee events or, with your base as well. We would love to stay connected with you, comrades. So please do that. And also we want to encourage everybody to join the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition. As well as support the Burning Spear newspaper. This is the official organ of the African People's Socialist Party. And this helps us to, be able to put out the truth on our terms, with the voice of the oppressed. We want to encourage you, Comrade Paolo put this in the chat earlier, go to uhuruplanet.com or go to handsoffuhuru.org/shop and get you some of the gear to show your politics. And I also want to announce, okay, good, this is up. Perfect. There's a couple events that you'll see on the calendar as well, but this Wednesday, July 30th, the African People's Solidarity Committee will be presenting their monthly webinar, Che Guevara, the Cuban Revolution and Black Liberation. This will be on Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central. You can register by going to apscuhuru.org/register. And if you're on the ground in St. Louis, go to the Uhuru Solidarity Center on Gravois Avenue and participate. So this is White Solidarity with Black Power live on Wednesday, July 30th. And comrades, as we say, this is a great picture of our comrades on the ground in South Africa. It's not over. We fight back until it's won. Hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, hands off Chairman Amalia Shitela, and victory is on the horizon. Uhuru.
Uhuru, and if I can just jump back on really quick, really want to appreciate Emmanuel, yourself, Chair Moise, Lisa, MQ, and also want to really appreciate Johan and Johan's stepmom. Johan heard the call to reach out to his family and wasted no time and won $50 from his stepmom. So I just want to really appreciate all of you. With that, we have now raised $13,675 with only 1,325 remaining. So I just want to say, I know some people are shy. They don't want, their name announced in the middle of a webinar. You want to wait until we log off here, and then you're going to hit submit. And I see you and I appreciate you. So feel free, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and make your contribution when you are able. Uhuru.
Yes, right on. Great statement. Great way to wrap it up. So thank you, comrades, so much for your donations. We are winning, and we look forward to being at those oral arguments for the appeal and having yet another victory for the anti-colonial free speech movement. Uhuru.
Africa, we are winning. Shout Uhuru for our freedom. We are winning. We'll dance and sing songs when revolution's won. We are winning. Africa's best. We are winning. Love
white power, the parasite. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Viva Haiti, who first set us free. We are winning. Carry the torch of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. We are winning. Ou peut-être tous les cailles. We are winning. We will rejoice when the colonizers die. They die. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Fight like Fannie Lou and Malcolm too. We are winning. Remember our struggle, always be true. We are winning. From Harlem to Brazil to Tanzania. We are winning. We fight and live for free Africa. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Patrice Lumumba's life won't be in vain. We are winning. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and